is no country in the world that does not now know the knowledge that our government, our social services and our police forces sacrificed a generation of our daughters at the hands of the multiculturalism altar. Where is the sun? On the right, outside this court, it says we will defend the children of the poor and punish the wrongdoer. That's what it says on this court. We will defend the children of the poor and punish the wrongdoer. They have not defended the children of the poor. They are punishing the people who speak out in defence of the children of the poor. You wish to try and portray that I am hated, whereas in reality, it's you that are hated. You have lied, you have played your part, and all of you who call yourself journalists, you all knew what was happening to those girls in all of those towns and cities, and you've done nothing, you said nothing. I think we should remember why we are here. What was I talking about outside that court that day? There are still young girls now in every single town and city that have been taken from us, taken from their mums as sexual slaves at the hands of Islamic gangs. I want to spend, if the intention of this imprisonment was to prevent the public having knowledge, I want to spend the next 6 months travelling to towns and cities that have been blighted by these problems.
I look at my kids daily and think, if you wasn't here, I wouldn't be here.
What happened the first time with Bob Barley?
I slept with him.
How old was you?
I was 11, Tom.
He had sex with you when he was 11, so he raped you. Oh my God, and were the police involved in that?
Yeah, and because the charges were dropped.
Who got the police involved?
My parents. I stayed to talk to you.
Oh babe, I wish I had your number myself.
Because I said to my mum yesterday, I was like, Tommy will know the truth. I didn't think I'd be strong enough to sit here now and talk to you. I didn't.
Do you mind if I ask why you are sat here talking to me?
Because I think, like, I'm sat here talking to you because you should know the truth. It's all right having it third hand or...
Do you mind if I ask why you want me to have the truth?
Because I think there's so many other girls out there that are being abused by these people. Just be straight up and tell everyone the truth, how it actually happened.
Now I should tell you, an independent inquiry into the sexual exploitation of children in Telford and Wrekin has been going on for well over 2 years. It's been led by the law firm Eversheds Sutherland. The problem is, and I'm quoting from its terms of reference, the aim and purpose of the inquiry is to raise public awareness into child exploitation in Telford during the period of the inquiry, and the inquiry wants to hear from survivors of abuse. But if accusations are made, the accused will be notified of the accusation and given the name of the accuser. That's a legal obligation. The accuser can object to the accused being informed, but then the inquiry cannot use their evidence. We have also been told that many of those who know most about what has gone on in Telford and Wrekin, you know, the police, social services and counsellors, many of them are refusing to help the inquiry at all. The inquiry will do nothing to bring justice for the victims. Now we know the flagship Telford investigation, Chalice, resulted in 11 convictions. 11. That's it. Yet our shoestring investigation has been given over 200 names of alleged perpetrators. We also know the independent inquiry has been given over 300 names. We can shortcut the conclusions of the inquiry for you. The performance of the police, social services, counsellors, it was woeful at best, but more than likely a deliberate attempt to cover up these crimes against little girls for fear of being called racist, or in the interests of community cohesion, or, as we will hear and see, because of corruption. Covering things up doesn't create community cohesion. It does the opposite. Any right-thinking member of the community, of any community, regardless of their culture or their religion, would agree. It also destroys trust in public institutions, the very institutions that taxpayers fund to protect us all, especially the vulnerable. Police, social services, politicians. No one's been fired for this cover-up or corruption, and I suspect no one has even had so much as a verbal or written warning. These people just shuffle off into retirement with their fat pensions. And the abuse is still going on today, right now, in Telford and Wrekin. Watch this.
In terms of there's an independent inquiry going on at the moment, which is being hosted by an independent QC and an independent solicitors.
Well, will that
we
be
are supplying them. We are
public?
supplying them with 40 years worth of information.
40 years.
40 years worth of information.
40 years, children have been failed.
So that the inquiry can have a
40 years, children have been failed.
Full understanding of the situation that Telford stays at is.
It won't be released just like.
Yeah, that's right. The police in Telford have passed 40 years of evidence to the independent inquiry. They've known what has been going on in that town for 40 years, as of the council, social services and the government. And we know, and they know, it's still going on today.
Can we start at the beginning of the abuse, yeah? And go through, because we've got your dad's account, but we've not just got your dad's, we've got 4 or 5 other girls from Telford's accounts. A lot of the names and the actions matched up with some of what your dad said. But are you comfortable if we just talk through so I can hear it? Yeah.
That happened when I was 11.
Yeah.
At the Mint Indian in Trench Road.
Yeah.
I started working there. Maybe in April, summertime it was. And for the first 3 months, I was doing deliveries with Dad. Then it became a thing where someone took a holiday and they said, I need someone inside. So I started working inside.
Is this in the evenings?
Yeah. I worked there packing orders.
Yeah.
And answering the phone. People would come in there and look and think, well, she's too young to be here. Or they would say, oh, do you work here? I'd be left in the restaurant then while Dad went on deliveries, packing the orders. You know, then you get the flirty eyes and the touching and be like, oh, well, there's not enough space there, knowing that there was space there. Then my dad started working on the pizza shop next door. He renovated it and a new face appeared, Robert Ali. I started talking to him. Then he started touching me sexually.
When you was 11?
Yeah, when my dad would go, he would touch me sexually. And, you know, I thought, oh, it's normal. I'm a kid, I thought it was normal. And obviously then I started talking to him, meeting up with him on his days off or when my school holidays. One day my mum found out. She caught me texting him on the laptop and it stopped.
So your mum found out and it stopped?
Yeah.
But he'd been raping you?
Yeah.
And how old was he?
He was about 28.
Where would he rape you?
In his car.
You were 11?
Yeah.
So it started for you when you was just 11?
Yeah.
And you said the police were involved?
Yeah. And my police officer was DC Joe Hayes.
And that's when you was 11?
Yeah.
So DC Joe Hayes was involved at the age of 11?
Yeah.
And did they arrest him,
They did
Barbali?
investigations. He was bailed.
Okay.
And then about 6 months into the process, fell apart. So I was told.
But even if you were to not pursue the case, the police should have prosecute him if they had? Did you give a statement? Were you
I did tell
a video
I
statement?
did 3 hours of video statement. They had my laptop, they had the phone.
All his messages?
Yeah.
And from that police investigation, so the charges were dropped.
Yeah, everything was dropped.
When all this was blown back up with Telford, did the police come and speak to you about that case?
No.
Has anyone ever spoke to you about that case?
No.
But they did arrest that man at the time.
Yeah, and bailed him.
And his name?
Barber Ali,
Where's he now?
Birmingham.
He's living in Birmingham.
Because he tried contacting me again on Facebook.
Recent.
2018.
And he's in Birmingham. And what was you told when you was 11?
He was deported.
Now, before we go further into Nicole's story, it's time we heard a little more about one of the families in Telford. In fact, 2 brothers. Gulfras Khan, also known as Gaz or Bugsy, and Mohammed Charlie Khan. There are a number of allegations in what follows, and we have been given the names of these 2 men by several girls. We want to be clear, nothing has been proven against either of them. Like the independent inquiry though, we will be giving them the right to respond to the allegations made.
Where would you be?
I'd be in the car.
With?
Either Mohammed Charlie Khan, Rizwan, Tariq, Mahmood, or Bugsy.
And how old was you?
12.
And what would they be doing when you're in the car?
They would talk to me about going to meet certain people, not to tell my dad if they told me to go to that person.
Okay.
So days off, I'd say to my mum, I feel ill, and she'd be like, oh yeah, you can have the day off. And I'd go out. And going out, I'd drop drugs off, I'd meet certain people, drop money off to people.
When you were aged 13, 12 and 13, 4, who would you be doing these errands for?
It'd be either Bugsy, Mohammed Charlie Khan, or Aguil Khan. This boy's single, or this guy's well not boy, but this guy's single. You know, maybe you should go meet him. And
This was Mohammed Charlie Khan?
Yeah.
And you was how old?
About 12, 13. And it became a vicious circle because if it wasn't Mohammed Charlie Khan, it was Gulfras Khan.
So Mohammed Charlie Khan and Gulfras Khan, did either of them rape you?
No.
But they were the ones that were telling you who you had to go and meet?
Yeah. So he would make me believe that, you know, I had to do something,
Yeah.
or I would be physically either beaten. He would
When you say
tell my parents or my dad.
when you say do something, you mean he would make you?
Go and see perpetrators.
Okay.
Be abused by perpetrators.
Okay. So he would be Charlie Khan.
Mohammed Charlie Khan. He was also a mental abuser. He would tell me to go and do things to perpetrators.
Who are the main people instructing you and telling you who you had to go and have sex with?
Mohammed Charlie Khan and Gulfras Khan.
Do you know what Mohammed Charlie Khan does?
He's a solicitor, isn't
He's a solicitor.
he? And he lives at...
So Mohammed Charlie Khan would tell you regularly the men that you had to go and meet
Yeah.
when you were what age?
12, 13. And Gulfras Khan was the same.
That description sounds like Mohammed Charlie Khan was your pimp.
Yeah.
So you were controlled by these men for years. Control.
They were in control. They would supply the drugs. They would supply the money. All because they're money laundering.
So Charlie Khan and Gulfras Khan were involved in the drugs.
Drugs, because they supply it.
They were supplying the drugs.
And their nephews supply it. So if they've got no funds and they've got no drugs, little men will fall. They won't have nothing to abuse anybody. They won't have no instructor to be instructed by.
So if I asked you, you lived in Telford, you were abused by many men, who was the kingpin? Who was the main organiser?
Gulfras Khan.
Gulfras Khan. Do you know what position Gulfras Khan holds now? Are you aware?
I don't.
No? He's the chair of the Telford Muslim Forum.
Believable. It's believable, isn't it? Man seems to have his fingers in many pies. And that's how we all see it.
Is he the fucker who's preaching about grooming in the mosque?
Mohammed Charlie Khan, his brother.
Okay, yeah, Mohammed. So he's as far as everyone's aware, he's a pillar of that community.
He is, yeah. And he will be like, oh, grooming's wrong, we don't believe in that. You're doing it.
Who are we insulting? Our religion, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah. This is, you know, these people who do bad things, their names come in the media, Muhammad, Abdullah, whatever they are, all these Muslim names, especially these pedos, you know, God forbid. They go up and down the country, Muslim people attacking young women. How insulting is that? You know, really, if these people are doing it, alhamdulillah, we got sisters, we got daughters, we want our, is it safe? Why would we attack other people's?
So there you see it. Mohammed Charlie Khan, teacher in the mosques, solicitor, pillar of the community, explaining how wrong grooming is. Now you've heard about these two pillars of the community, Gulfars Khan and Mohammed Charlie Khan. One the chair of the Telford Muslim Forum, one a solicitor who teaches in the mosque. And we've heard the accusations about their involvement in the drug business in Telford and the pimping of little girls. Well, we've also heard mentioned their nephews. Two of them are of interest to us, Aqib Khan and Akil Khan. Let's meet them.
See me in a Rolls Royce, a 6 or 7 star hotel, living my life to the fullest. Don't get jealous of me, cause I worked my ass off to get it. Nobody handed me nothing. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on.
ਸਾਡੇ ਰੁਤਬੇ ਮੜਕ ਠਰਮੇ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਬਾਲਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਜਾਨੂ ਸਾਡੀ ਯਾਰੀ ਔਖੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਐ ਜੋ ਸੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ family not friends round here we stay loyal to the end round here someone tell me how the enemy sleeping it must be cowards that we're beefing all their death threats but we're still breathing when we catch one of them we got section 18 him GBH with intent round here I might show you.
And for the police and members of the public who think taking a knee is a strong statement for Black Lives Matter or just for black lives or good for community relations, you're all fools. Here's what these Muslims make of your strong statement. Bobby Khan, another family member, commented on their post of the kneeling Telford police. B Unit got the 5-0 on locks. That's the Banana Unit. Their gang has the 5-0, the police, on locks. They've got the police in Telford under control. And Bobby Khan says, dogs on their lead. Ha ha ha. His spelling isn't very good, but police, he's laughing at you. They are all laughing at you. We wasn't as interested in Aqib Khan, but as it happens, we can see from this article of Legal Futures that the Solicitors Regulation Authority decided, and their professional standards aren't exactly the highest, but they decided, what with Aqib being a convicted stalker, making threatening phone calls to a woman and following her in his vehicle? Aqib, was it the posh one that you rented for your TikTok video? Well, they decided you had better work your trainee solicitor arse off in a different profession. You were banned from working in the legal profession in June 2021. So unlike this website, it would appear that Aqib Khan hasn't got a legal future. But for this film, we're much more interested in the story of Aqib's brother. What do you want, Nicole?
I don't want to be living this for the rest of my life. I want to be able to move on and bring my kids up. I've got 2 girls, Tom. Well, I'm glad I've met you myself.
I'm glad I've met you, baby. Look, you obviously understand my objective in this is simply the truth. Yeah? If the truth doesn't fit certain things, I just want the truth.
So, Akil Khan was raped when I was 13 in his car. There was Matashba Farouk in his flat at Barnclose. I was 13. I went there numerous times, but at this time, my dad found me.
This is the story we've heard from your dad's, and you were 13 then.
Nicole was in number 49 in hysterics. Janine went into number 49 and that's where Nicole was crying her eyes out. She got brought down the stairs by Janine down the block of flats. Well, obviously me and my brother, we were still up on the top floor. As I come down that block of flats and come out, I called the police and sat Nicole in the car outside. She was in hysterics. Her uncle John, he come to her and she said she'd been raped.
He was that hurt by it, he got out of the car and he couldn't wait for the police to come. He needed to go. And then Mark's brother, Paul, he sat in the car with her. She'd explained to him what had gone on. And then the police asked him to go to the police station. And he said what was said in that statement. It was heartbreaking, and I'll never forget it from that day to this.
What they did to her?
Yeah.
Then after that, it was a short time after that, that's when Billy Scott appeared at our house, sat on our settee with a DS Cindy Henry, and turned around and said nothing had happened at the block of flats. Nothing had happened.
And who raped you in that flat?
Matashka Farouk.
Just him?
Yeah.
How old was he?
He must have been pushing his 30s.
And this is when the police were involved?
Yeah.
But you were already pregnant to Akil, okay, so when you've gone
But
to...
at that time, I didn't know, so I started feeling really ill, and I came home from school and I was locking myself away, and one day I thought something's not right, so I got my own test and came back positive, and I was at school. I was like, what am I going to do? And I didn't tell anyone, so I found out about 3 weeks before, and my nan said to my mum, you need to do a test. And obviously I did it. And
so then when you've done that, police have got involved. I guess you give a statement explaining about Akil and explain.
Well, I've got, Tom, I need to call the police because I've got a big file, like, that I've wrote myself. It's like a diary of every account that happened, every person, every name, every address, every phone number, every registration number. I then told Akil Khan because when I found out, so I was in a situation that I didn't know what to do, and I got offered £20,000 to keep the baby by Gufraz Khan.
Gufraz Khan offered you £20,000?
Yeah. There was also Sham Hussein, he's from Birmingham. That started when I was 12 until I was nearly 14.
He raped you?
Yeah, he raped me in his car. We went to Newport, there was a field, and we drove down that field, like a back lane.
How old was you?
13 and a half.
And what's his name?
Sham Hussein, and he had a silver Corsa, 12 plate, like new shaped.
And he took you out was it pitch black in the middle of...
It was daylight.
Daylight.
Yeah, and there was a lady, she had some dogs, and she was like, what are you doing? She's a child. Then there was Cam Khan. He took me to the back of Shifnal to buy a tree and raped me there. I was about 13. I met him at McDonald's car park where I did oral sex in the car with him.
How old was you?
13. They're like, oh well, she hasn't made an effort today, so then you're beaten.
So you were forced to attempt to look good and impressive for their sexual desires.
Yeah. It's like now,
through fear of being attacked by them.
Because of this, I don't wear makeup on a regular. It's because I've come here today. I don't wear makeup, Tom. I can go out of my house with a plain face and feel alright. I can go out, not looking like a tramp, but be a different person because I was forced for so long to have that look.
Yeah.
And I'm only just getting back to myself where I can feel comfortable in my own body. Because for so long, they was like, oh, you're fat, you're this, you're that. So for so long, I tried to be someone I wasn't.
What other sort of descriptive terms do they use for you?
I was called a gura,
You was called a gura.
which is a white bitch.
Do you remember who by?
Numerous of virtually all of them.
Were they using that term when abusing you, when sexually abusing you?
Both. Like if you didn't, like I say, if you didn't look a certain way, they'd be like, the slaggy guras here.
So you're regularly called a white bitch?
So I was constantly like feeling like I had to be someone I wasn't.
What we've done is we've sat with 4 or 5 girls. We've got names, we've got a wall, the whole size of that wall, yeah, with who they are, their links, their family trees. It's all that you're going to tell you know more than anyone. It's all intertwined. Yeah. The ages you were.
I want you to understand the scale of the investigation we've done. We've sat down, along the top here you'll see survivors. They're survivors, not victims. You'll see that from the courage they show during these series. We have survivors, we have their parents. We sit down with them. Sometimes we interview them for 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 hours, sometimes 2, 3 times. We then take the interviews, we go through, we transcribe it, and we take out the details and the names that they give us that the allegations are against for who's raped them, yeah? And we build a spreadsheet in a database like this. So this is a spreadsheet. And if we go through, I want you to see the scale. We're looking for page 6 on this and we have the name of the perpetrators, we have accessories to the crimes, we have specifically, this box is the specific crimes and the certain detail that we need to know, yeah? And if we go through at the end, when you see it highlighted in red, that is where a victim has named a perpetrator. So the perpetrator's names are down here. And for this, I'm going to page 6 because I want to see Bugsy, our friend Bugsy, Gulfras Khan, the big timer. And Bugsy, if we get here, this is Gulfras Khan, number 12. We have the allegations against him, the serious allegations against him. And then 1, 2, 3. This means he's been named by 3 different survivors as being involved in their prostitution, in their trafficking, and in their rape. Right, let's carry on going so you can see the scale of this, okay? We've ended up with hundreds of names. We know the police investigation identified over 200 men in Telford alone, yeah? We've done that with only 10 victims, okay? There's 1,000 victims in Telford. Now we'll keep going, look, it keeps going, you get the point, yeah? I just want you to realise the scale of the investigation we've done. We've done our homework, we've pieced it together, and that creates what we're going to see now. This isn't all of them, okay? And I've separated these into tribes because they separate themselves into tribes. These gangs, there's different gangs that operate in different parts of the town. We're focusing on this, okay? This is the family tree we're looking at the minute. We have Bugsy, we have Charlie Khan. We have allegations against pretty much every family member, okay? But we're going after the ones with multiple allegations.
And when you say you met them, the names you just listed, this is you're 12 years old, you're working in this Indian restaurant. Did you have, was there abuse from each of them?
With Gul Khan, as we know. I got pregnant when I was 13, went for an abortion.
So Gul Khan.
ਸਾਡੇ ਰੁਤਬੇ ਮੜਕ ਠਰਮੇ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਬਾਲਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਜਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੀ ਯਾਰੀ ਔਖੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਐ ਜੋ ਸੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੰਡੂ ਫਿਰਨ ਬਥੇਰੇ ਜੋ ਟੋ ਟੋ ਕੇ ਵੇਖਣ ਜੇਬਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੁੱਢ ਤੋਂ ਆਸਤਰ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਿੱਤਰ
And was he regularly, was he sexual contact, was he raping you?
Yeah, it was sex, yeah.
It was sex? Yeah. How often?
It was just the once.
Just the once?
Because I knew it wasn't right. Like, something wasn't right. Like, they were getting me to do things, otherwise they would blackmail me.
Do you mind me asking what they were?
They would blackmail me and say they would kill me.
Yeah.
They would go and tell my dad, and that was my biggest fear, telling my dad.
So Gul Khan, you said he's raped you when you were 13.
Yeah.
Well, you're impregnated, yeah? Where did that happen?
It happened on Donington Boxing Club car park.
I've been there.
And he took me, do you know where the Esso Field is, by the McDonald's?
Yeah.
Took me to, like, there's a theatre there, and it happened on that car park.
So when you met the police and you've given them all this information, you was willing to be a witness in the case?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it's like information was given from my dad, accounts from my mum of what she knew, and all of a sudden it was NFA, and it was like.
So so you've given the police a catalogue of names, locations, dates of rape, of abuse, and what did they? And so from your point of view, at that point, how old were you in 2013?
So 8 years off what I am now.
How old are you now?
22.
22. So you're 14. So when you were 14, you've given all the police, you've given statements to all of this, and each one of them have got no further action.
No further action.
How did you feel then?
I gave up. I gave up trying. It's like now we still go on about it, and it's like you're not getting any further forward, so just quit. Because the more you go back,
You're still living it.
you're still living it, and it's affected me mentally. You know, it's affected my life. But I can't. I don't go to a GP and be like, oh well, I've got this wrong.
Have you had
I've got
counselling?
This wrong. No.
You've never had any counselling? Have you been offered counselling? From nobody?
No.
Would you like counselling?
I would, because I've got PTSD, anxiety and depression, and I feel like I've got a big weight on my shoulders.
You have got a big weight on your shoulders, babe.
But I move forward, Tom.
So you're 14 years old, all the charges have been, there's been no further action. Was you given a reason for no further action?
Well, I wasn't, but they were.
Okay, so one of these men, you were pregnant, you had an abortion. What was that like at 13 years old?
It's trauma. Like, it still plays a part of my life. And it never goes away. I nearly lost my daughter, Tom. My current daughter that I've just had.
Yeah, I know you.
I went through so much with her, and I thought, I've lost her. But if you see her now, Tom, she's thriving.
Is she? Good.
And I did that. But she's me, she's the double of me compared to my others. So I look at her and I think, you're my strength. You're my rock. I fear for their life. I don't care about myself, Tom, I don't. If they're gonna have me, they're gonna have me. But don't hurt my kids.
Okay, if we can, I'll just rewind back to a kid. So when you were pregnant, you've had an abortion, the police are involved, you're 13 years old.
Yeah.
There's possibly two men that could have been the father.
Yeah. Which was Aquil Khan.
Yeah.
And Matash Bafoud.
And did you find out who the father was?
It was only after the fetus was sent for DNA that it came back that it was Aquil Khan.
Okay. So there was a 100% DNA match on Aquil Khan.
I had it.
So when you've gone through this police investigation, so you've given a statement, you've sat down with the police. Did they make an arrest?
Not straight away.
No.
No.
How long did it take for them to arrest him?
About 3 months, but then he was bailed. And then I had all the threats.
From?
Aquil Khan.
Aquil Khan was threatening you. So whilst on bail, he was threatening you?
Yeah, I was a fat bitch, I was all the rest of it. Why did I go and open my mouth? What's coming to me.
Did you tell the police about the threats?
They had it on messages.
They had the threats on messages? Yeah. What did they do?
Nothing. Clearly, they haven't done nothing.
And am I right that he was given no further action?
Yeah.
And he was a 13-year-old child?
Yeah. But there was a DNA match.
There's a 100% DNA match on a fetus.
It makes you think, because there was Barraj Singh. Yes, I had interactions with him sexually. He got charged, but someone that has a full DNA match is an NFA.
What reason was given?
I don't know, Tom. I didn't have the paperwork.
Because you was a child.
What
reason was you told?
I wasn't.
No.
They haven't sat down with me and showed me any file whatsoever.
The police haven't?
But if someone, like Barraj Singh, you meet, you have sexual contact, whatever, can get a prison sentence.
How long did he get?
I think he got 2 years.
So Baraj Singh, an adult male, got 2 years for raping you as a child.
He was younger than Akhil Khan.
So when you give the police a statement that listed, let's say, how many men do you think in your catalogue that you give to the police were listed as criminal activities towards you?
It was about 16.
16. And out of those 16, do you mind if I ask the national, were they?
They were Asian.
They were all Asian.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Singh.
He was obviously a Sikh.
So he's a Sikh. So out of the 16, would there be 15 Muslims and 1 Sikh?
Yeah.
And who was prosecuted out of that list?
Baraj Singh.
Just the Sikh?
Yeah. As far as I'm aware.
As far as you're aware. Just the Sikh fella.
I couldn't be 100%
on
because I haven't been told anything.
No, that's fine.
But I know Baraj Singh did.
And he went to jail?
Yeah.
And as far as you know, none of the others faced prosecution?
No.
A 13-year-old girl was raped by an adult male. The police have a DNA match from the aborted fetus to show that Akhil Khan is the rapist. And the police decide no further action in NFA. We'll move on to the police shortly. Let's just understand how these men terrify young girls. There are 5 dead females at the hands of these gangs in Telford alone.
19 years ago, Tasnim Lowe's home was destroyed in a fire.
Police in Shropshire have begun a murder inquiry after a suspected arson attack in which a mother and her 2 teenage daughters were killed.
I was found wrapped in a blanket under an apple tree. I got a bit of fire on my face.
In that fire, Tasnim lost her grandmother, her aunt, her mum, and then her dad, when he was convicted of their triple murder.
The children are constantly threatened you will end up like Lucy Lowe. We also have Becky Watson and Vicky Round, who are 2 other young girls who have died because of the actions of these gangs.
Also, Gufraz Khan didn't physically abuse me, but he was mentally abusing me. Like if I said I wouldn't do something.
So was Gufraz Khan giving you, telling you who you had to sleep?
Yeah. He knew about Cam Khan, and he bribed me and said, if you don't sleep with him, I'm going to tell your dad everything.
Can you tell me what do you think of the power that all of these men you're naming? What sort of power do they hold in that area?
They're very high up. They're well known. They run Wellington. They run Oakham Gates. And anybody that knows anything about them, they will do anything to hurt them.
So they are violent?
They are violent people, and if you don't do what they say, they'll do things to you. I remember, Tom, they used a car to run someone over, and it was hidden behind the restaurant for months.
To take you back to when you were 13, from 11 to 13 or 14, just how scared, when you're going to have to meet these men, how scared are you?
I was petrified. And I would play hell if they wouldn't let me go, my parents. If my parents wouldn't let me go out, I'd play hell. Because I'd know, when I did go, the consequences.
Which were?
It would be people, they would hurt me, Tom.
Physically?
Physically hurt me. And I'd have bruises. I'd come home, go straight in the bath. I'd shut everyone out. Because I knew if my parents said, no, you weren't going out, they would hurt me. So I would kick off a big fuss to go.
How would they treat you when they... Well, was this a matter of old men having sex with a young child?
It was more like...
Were they physically violent during, whilst raping you?
Yeah.
Were they?
It was violent, and you know, it's horrible. It's just torture, and I felt I was tortured all the time. It wasn't the fact that, you know, they fill your head with nonsense. Oh, she's pretty, she's blah, you know, oh, she hasn't made an effort today. You know, you had to look a certain way all the time. So if I didn't have, like, my makeup or whatever, I'd kick off.
So we've heard how the police took no further action against Barbara Ali for raping Nicole when she was 11. We've heard how the police took no further action against Akil Khan when they had DNA proof that he had raped Nicole when she was just 13. What is going on? I'll tell you my motive with this, just to be straight, is if these men are not going to get prosecuted, I've heard from you, I've heard from lots of girls, I want the whole country to know who they are. I want them to know where their businesses are. And I also want to shine a light on the fact of the police failure and why was there a police failure. What do you know of an allegation that the police were being paid?
By Dodgy Eye in it.
Can you explain? Can you tell me what you know?
I remember the envelope.
You remember?
And it was a very big envelope, and it was for Gofraz Khan. He was supposed to go to prison, and this envelope was passed down the table, and the evidence was lost.
So Gofraz Khan was supposed to go to prison for, do you know what crime?
Money laundering.
Money laundering. And was this when you was working in the restaurant?
Yeah.
Tell me what you witnessed.
There was a lot of people that night. There was Dad, there was Tariq Mahmood, there was Rizwan Hussein, I think his name is. There was Munchie, there was Bugsy, there was Charlie, there was Akil Khan, and then there was this police officer.
Can you describe him?
He's quite tall, he had grey hair, dodgy eye, slim build. It's about maybe 6 foot tall.
Was he stood at the bar with them, at the table with them?
He sat at the table because they had all just finished eating.
He was eating with them as well?
Yeah.
And you witnessed?
Bugsy, he went down into the main restaurant.
Yep.
And he come back with a brown envelope. And when I say brown envelope, it was stacked.
Yep.
I couldn't even close it. And he passed it in. 10 minutes after he passed it in, he disappeared. A week later, Bugsy sat in my dad's car. And he was bragging, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to prison, Mark. All my problems have gone away." But he removed his names off his properties.
At that time? And Bugsy is
Gofraz Khan.
Gofraz Khan.
And he moved them into Manjit Singh's name, which is his wife, but one off.
At which point did you know that the man sat around the table with them was a police officer?
I'd met him.
You met him?
I'd met him.
When?
When I went to an interview.
So you went to give an interview about men who had been raping you, and that's when you met the man with the dodgy eye, the same man you'd seen previously receiving money. Do you know that man's name?
I'm not sure of his name. Yeah, I am. Jim Bayliss.
His name's Jim Bayliss.
Yeah.
So you witnessed Jim Bayliss take money.
It's calm. In 2014, we were taken to the middle floor of Mallinsgate Police Station to a meeting in regards to the progress of this case. When I walked into that meeting, I recognised this man. This man got a dodgy left eye, slick back grey hair, tartan jacket, white shirt, open. And the first words he said was, "Take as much information off that man before he leaves this building." And he left. The penny dropped. I remembered him from Oakengate's Spice Lounge. He took the payout, the payday, from Gofraz Khan. That man was under investigation for money laundering, tax evasion, trafficking of drugs, trafficking of girls. And the whole investigation of 5 years completely collapsed.
Have you ever mentioned any of this to any police officers?
No. I was too scared, for my protection.
Can I ask, why do you think, say for example, we know that over 200 men have been named to the police involved in raping children like yourself, many girls like yourself, that only a handful have been prosecuted. What do you think that is?
I think it's all about status.
What do you mean?
If you have a status, like a high status, or you've got a bit of money, and you can pass a bit of money around.
So you believe it's because of corruption?
Yeah.
You believe corruption in the local police has prevented the prosecutions?
I do. I believe that these people I've named, higher names like Gulfraz Khan and Mohammed Charlie Khan, they've got a bit of money, so they've got a status. Pass a bit of money, things are lost.
But let's not rely on Nicole's view. Let's listen to another view. This superb segment by Patrick Christis on the failures of the police and the media.
Grooming gangs have not gone away. They're not a thing of the past. While police and politicians bury their heads in the sand and worry about being called racist, up and down the country, vulnerable young girls are being systematically abused on an industrial scale by, predominantly, South Asian men. The scale of the problem is absolutely vast. We've had instances in Rotherham, Rochdale, Huddersfield, Aylesbury, Newcastle, Keighley, Oxford, Telford, Manchester. In that case, Greater Manchester Police identified more than 800 members of that gang. When the initial Rotherham grooming gang scandal broke, I think it shocked people. A report into it unearthed that an estimated 1,400 children had been sexually abused in Rotherham between 1997 and 2013 by predominantly British Pakistani men. The abuse included gang rape, forcing children to watch rape, dousing them with petrol and threatening to set them on fire, threatening to rape their mothers and younger sisters, trafficking them to other towns. There were pregnancies, one at age 12, terminations, miscarriages, babies raised by their mothers, babies being removed, and of course, trauma caused and lives shattered forever. And it doesn't just stop with police. It runs right through the media. When the Telford grooming scandal happened, it was, at the time, the UK's largest ever child exploitation case. How did the BBC report it? They put it as a secondary story on their local Shropshire page on their news site. So if you wanted to find out about the UK's largest ever grooming scandal, you had to go to the local news section of the BBC website and scroll down a bit. Presumably this, again, is because they didn't want to stoke racial tensions. But isn't there already racism involved? Reporting the facts is not racist. Predominantly South Asian grooming gangs systematically targeting young, vulnerable white girls because there is a sense, in my opinion anyway, that they're lesser than other people or that they don't matter as much. I'd argue there's an element of racism involved in that, isn't there? Our reporter Kevin Larkin revealed live on GB News yesterday that in Rotherham there are apparently multiple cases of child sexual exploitation taking place, and it appears, although police and the local council vehemently deny this, that the investigation into this is half-baked to say the least. There is an allegation that police have been told about a property where CSE takes place after 10 p.m, and apparently they sent a police officer around at 6 p.m. and concluded that nothing bad was going on. Instead of treating the tens of thousands of vulnerable child victims as an inconvenience, why don't police treat them for what they really are? Human beings who are being broken.
Doing nothing for the victims for fear of being called racist is racist. Racist against the vulnerable white girls being targeted by these Pakistani Muslim men. Doing nothing for the victims for the sake of community cohesion. Well, it does the opposite. It destroys trust in public institutions and it fuels rage in all those who can see the truth. GB News sees the racism, the incompetence. It hasn't yet seen the police corruption.
One last thing, one more thing. I have to be 100% sure that the Jim Bayliss we've identified and we've found is the one that Nicole has made allegations against. So we need to go catch up with Nicole one more time so she can identify him. Good. I've just got one more. I think this was important. I'm 100% sure about everything. In our interview, you named a senior police officer, but I need to know that we're 100%. Yeah. I want to ask if you can look at these pictures. Yeah. Take your time. Don't rush it. And tell me if you recognise any of these men as being the man that you saw at that table. Take your time.
This one.
This one, 100%?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000%.
1,000%?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry for doing this. I mean, I have to be 100% before I make an approach.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole.
And just like in other towns and cities up and down the country, we know it's still happening here. Listen to this recent Facebook post in Telford. It took just 2 minutes to find online, and I'm sure there's plenty more.
Do not get into a go-kart taxi on your own. This evening, I was on my way home and the driver went such an unusual way to how they normally do. I didn't really think anything of it at first. I just thought maybe he goes a different route that he prefers. But then we ended up going the complete opposite way to where I had requested. He then powers off the phone that was tracking where we were going and pulls up into some building estate, not a clue where, turns the engine off and looks at me. Me being me, got straight out of the car and walked to the closest sign I could find and rang my mum. He then pulls up alongside me and repeatedly tells me to get back in. I mentioned the fact I'm on the phone to my mum and he speeds off. It was a very scary encounter and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Please be careful when booking with go-cars and do not get in on your own.
The accounts from Nicole's years of abuse at the hands of these men are heartbreaking and they're endless. Remember, apart from the DNA evidence that Akil raped Nicole when she was 13 years old, nothing's been proven. So we think it's time to ask Gulfrez Khan, Mohammed Charlie Khan and Akil Khan for their side of the story. We must also question Jim Bayliss about the accusations of corruption that he's been working with these gangs. A brief on what this is, yeah? We've spent the last 12 months investigating rape gangs in the town of Telford. We've sat down with multiple victims. For example, this is the story of one victim. Every name you see written in black is the name of a man that has raped her. One child this is. We've sat down with multiple victims, okay? And we've got over 200 names of perpetrators. We know of over 200 men that have been involved in rape in this town. We have the targets you'll see here. We have many targets, many family trees. Just so you understand, the allegations are these men control the drugs in the town, they control the prostitution, they're heavily involved in violence, okay? Today's targets. Gaz Khan, he is the leader of the Telford Muslim Forum. They're all high ranking, yeah? Charlie Khan is a solicitor and he preaches in the mosque. Akil Khan, he's impregnated a 13-year-old child. None of them have been charged, none have been arrested. We understand why when we got into this investigation, because we have allegations that a former senior police officer in Telford has been spotted with these gang members, has been taking money off them. I need to know every single detail about all of these men. I need to know where they live. We need positive IDs on them. We need to make sure that we know it's the right house. I want to see where they are. I want trackers on their cars. I want you to follow them. I want you to get up close to them. Every single one of their moves, yeah? We're starting on these, but we've got dozens of targets. We started off, we were going to do a film just on Telford, but we want to tell each individual victim's story now, because there's so many targets to highlight. So if we can, we'll start there. We just start, get out, we'll meet again. I just need to know every single thing about them, because the purpose of this is for me to give these men a right to reply. There's allegations at all of them, not by one victim, yeah? By multiple victims who do not know each other. That's the point. So we need to see what they've got to say, and I think the British public will want to know who these men are.
Excuse me, is there a shortcut to the hotel this way? Give her that number at 7 o'clock to contact me.
Wilbur White. This is Akil. He's come out of his house. This is the vehicle of one of our surveillance teams. Now, the reason why this is so important because they can get up close. They have zooming cameras at the front, zooming cameras at the back. We can position ourselves near any of their houses. We can identify specifically that it's them. This is important because I need to make sure I'm approaching the right people with these serious allegations.
This is where the film gets interesting. I cannot publish these allegations against these men without giving them their right to reply. So we're going to go find them. We're going to see what each one of them have got to say about the allegations being made against them. Let's go.
Stand by. X-ray +1 are out. Moving to their car. They've entered their car and they're pulling off. Orange 1, over to you.
They wouldn't have been there that long.
That's in there.
That one there.
That's in there.
Yeah, just seeing him go past.
That's out of the tree, yeah.
Okay.
Let's keep lightly then.
Got him.
Left. What, here on the right? Has he just turned up? Yeah, okay. Right, ready? Bugsy, how you doing, mate? My name's Tommy Robinson. I've got to ask you some questions about my documentary, The Rape of Britain. We have serious allegations from children who say that you were involved in the rape and prostitution of them, that you were a kingpin and having them trafficked. Well, can we talk? I've got some questions. We have accusations that you trafficked young children. You trafficked young children. You were the kingpin. You chose who they were raped by. You prostituted them. What is your relationship with Inspector Jim Bayliss? Bugsy, what is your relationship with Inspector Jim Bayliss? This man, what we need to know is that these children, these are allegations against this man, and the allegations have come in from children who have fled the country. These children are in hiding. They're a decade on, they're suicidal, they're damaged, mentally, physically, destroyed, And these men, all the men the allegations against, just so people know, are living the life, driving their sports cars, living in big houses, and have the rule of this town still. They haven't been driven from their town. None of these people in hiding like our victims are. So their allegations, you're going to see the allegations. You're going to see Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, Series 4, Series 5. And so we know there are multiple victims who do not know each other who have alleged this man has trafficked them throughout this town. Come on, let's go. Whereabouts? So is he in KFC car park, yeah?
He's right at the drive-through. He can't get out.
Mohammed, can I ask you some questions? How you doing? I'm doing a film about the rape of a generation of our daughters in Telford. I've seen you give seminars in the mosque, yeah, against grooming.
Yeah.
It's quite admirable.
Mate, listen, I know you are. Listen.
Yeah.
I'm against anybody breaking the law. The police are there to get the evidence and bring people to justice. I've got nothing to say. I'm a British citizen. I'm born here. I know you have your opinions about people from my ethnic background, but I see this as my country.
Okay.
So
can I ask you this?
I've got nothing to say to you.
I'll just ask you this one question. Come on. Why would 3 individual girls who do not know each other all be telling me and giving me statements that you have been involved in their grooming, in their trafficking, and in their prostitution? 3 girls that do not know each other in this town. Why would they be telling me that, Charlie?
Listen, this is complete a lie. I have never ever been involved in any of this business or anything like that. I've been married for over 20-something years. People who know me can vouch. I've never ever been.
I'm asking that question
again.
Listen. Why would 3 girls who do not know each other say that you've been involved? I'll give you one scenario. You dragged a girl in the room, you threw her on the floor, and freshly migrants come in one by one and gang raped her.
Listen, mate.
What do you have to say to that allegation, Charlie?
I have got nothing to say to you.
What's your relationship with Inspector Bayliss, Charlie?
Who?
Inspector Bayliss.
I've got nothing to say
What's
to
your
you
relationship with Inspector Bayliss?
I don't know what you're on about.
I'll ask you again, why would girls who do not know each other, give me your name as being involved in grooming them, trafficking them, and prostituting them?
I have never ever heard of this. I've never ever, as I said to you, I've been married, I've been loyal with my wife, I'm happily married.
You're going to get to see these allegations on screen on the Rape of Britain documentary.
You're a liar, you're making this up. I unequivocally deny all this. I don't know what you're on about. You go around making false allegations against people, innocent people, and you're trying to make bogus claims against people, okay? I don't know what you're on about. I've got nothing to say to you.
I'll tell you again, Charlie.
Listen,
just so you understand.
listen,
Just so you understand.
you better move away.
Just so you understand, it's not me making bogus claims. Yeah? It's
well,
not
listen.
me. I'm a journalist putting this together.
You're not a journalist. You're a racist.
Okay.
You're a racist.
It's girls that do not know each other, Charlie. All naming you.
I don't care.
Why would they do that?
Listen,
For what reason? Come on.
I've never ever been involved in any of this business. This is a complete utter lie. You're a troublemaker. You're a liar. It's been proved you're a liar. You're a criminal. You got a criminal record. I don't have a criminal record, mate.
Right?
I don't care what you listen. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Everyone's going to see who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
You might have got away with it You might have got away with it for a decade. You might have thought you were smart. Yeah. You might have thought you were clever. You might have thought you had police officers on your payroll. Right?
What are you on about payroll? I'm not in a situation to pay people money. I don't have that kind of money. What you talking about? You liar.
So how come I have children saying you're involved in drug dealing? I have statements saying you're involved in drug dealing.
Move out the way, you liar. This is a complete lie. What nephews? What are you on about? I'm a married man. I'm happily married.
Why would forget it being me here asking the questions? Yeah. Why would girls who do not know each other?
I've just been blocked. Can you move out the way?
Mate, I'm just here to ask you questions. I'm just here to ask you questions. I'm just asking.
You're trying to kidnap me or something?
I'm not trying to kidnap you. I'm just asking.
You've got no right to do this, okay?
I do have a right to ask you questions. You're in a public space.
From Mr. Bayless. I have two witnesses who saw you at Spice Lounge restaurant taking envelopes of money off of Gulfrest Khan and Mohammed Charlie Khan. What do you have to say to those allegations? Mr. Bayless, this is your right to reply. Over 200 men's names were identified by your police investigation, but only 11 were charged. Why is that? Did you have anything to do with the case's collapsing? Mr. Bayless, this is your opportunity to answer the questions. You have nothing to say. Do you think men should have been prosecuted for the rape of children in Telford? Did you play your part in making sure they didn't? Mr. Bayless. Inspector Bayless, this is your opportunity to answer questions. Why did you leave the police force? I have eyewitnesses who saw you taking envelopes of money off of Pakistani gangsters in the Spice Lounge restaurant in Oakengates. What do you have to say to those allegations? What are you hiding from, Mr. Bayless? You've took your name off the electoral roll. You've gone invisible since 2019. Why did you leave the police force before your pension? You're not going to answer anything. Is this your version of a no-comment interview, Mr. Bayless? Seriously, this is your opportunity to answer. I have witnesses who place you sitting round a table with Mohammed Charlie Khan, Gulfrest Khan, all known Pakistani gangsters from Telford. You're sat at a table with them receiving envelopes. What were in those envelopes? Have you took money to collapse cases? Is that why you left the police force 2 years ago, and is that why you're now in hiding? What is your relationship with Gulfrest Khan? What was your relationship? What's your relationship with Mohammed Charlie Khan? Are they your friends? Did they use you to escape justice in Telford? Nothing to say. Nothing at all to say. If you do fancy a right to reply at any time, you want to know how you can contact me? No? Come on. We've asked our question.
Walk into the back of the yard. Are you alright?
Turn the video. Come on. Inspector Bayless, if you've been involved in corruption, it will come out.
Let me be clear again. No charge has been brought against Gulfrest Khan or Mohammed Charlie Khan, and they both deny the allegations being made against them. Although we know Akil 100% impregnated a child, we've not been able to get a response from him. Jim Bayless, given the same chance to respond, said nothing at all. We have testimony from multiple witnesses on camera making allegations against these men. However, nothing has been proven. What we do know is organised gang grooming, abuse and rape of vulnerable young girls has been going on across the UK for over 40 years, and it's still going on today. So many lives have been destroyed. And if the people we elect to lead us genuinely want to achieve community cohesion, they would do well to recognise the nature of these crimes and apply English law without fear or favour, free from misguided political influences and free from misguided cultural sensibilities. English law for historic crimes, for now and for the future, regardless of the characteristics of those who commit the crimes. The government, the police, social services, local councils and the media, where are you? Where have you been? Where is the protection of the poor? Where is the punishment of the wrongdoer? Where is the exposure of corruption? And where is the drive to bring criminal gangs to justice? Will you stop the destruction of yet more lives? The destruction of young girls like Nicole? For the people of Britain, for the British public, for you watching this, we can and we must shine a light on the darkness within our communities. We know right from wrong, and we cannot allow this evil to be ignored. To Telford Council, to Telford Police, to all those people with dirty hands, just you prepare yourself for Series 2.
As we pulled up, they've jumped in front of us, jumped out, bricks, bats, the lot.
Fucking hell.
Pulled up here as we come out, and he's just come and smashed the car.
Asian male, sorry.
Yeah, they were all Asian.
She must have been absolutely terrified.
So what's happened is 2 days ago the window was smashed. Today the window's been smashed again. You had, just so you know, you had a car torched and firebombed 2 days ago. Yeah. Now all of these attacks are being committed by grooming gangs who are targeting the victims' families. Yeah, that's what this is. Now your police officers have come to this house. They've left the family here after their house has been smashed up twice, and they've drove off. In the town we're in, you've had 3 people burned to fucking death by grooming gangs, and the police have actually done nothing for both these visits. They've done nothing to relocate the family. They've done nothing to secure the family. There's no fireproof letterbox been put on the house. It's like they're just sitting ducks being left here. And I find out, and so they are in danger even now in the house. And all anyone wants is for this family to be protected and served, which is the police's job, and not left to be targeted by these gangs. They haven't even took a statement. They've given a crime reference number and left. The mum's been beat up. This lady's been beat up previously. They've set fire to the house previously. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked. I know it's not you. I'm gobsmacked.
No, it's not me, so I personally can't change this. No, I've obviously listened to everything you've said. I've typed up on the log what you've said,
yep.
And I will ask them to review it, but I cannot change what they have done.
So whilst we're sat here, can you contact them and let us know if the police are coming back here to relocate this family into safety?
I said I will update the log.
What does that mean? What you keep saying that? What does that mean? You're going to write a few words on the computer?
The log.
Yeah, and then what? This is the last van load. I've done four runs, and then it's sad, isn't it? It's sad. But the family at least will be hopefully somewhere safe. Well, they will be somewhere safe. Their stuff, don't know how long it's going to remain in storage till the council can get them a new house. But it's a travesty that the families of survivors are having to leave this town whilst the men roam around like they own it.
want to speak to Rob Rondell. Oh. That's possible.
Is he expected it or just to do that?
No, I just got, I just want to say today I've got lots of information I'd like to give him about Grooming Gangs. No, not about this, sorry. Yeah. No, so I've got, I wasn't meant to be up here, I was going to come up Monday, but I've just got lots of information that I want to hand to him.
There's been a lot of stuff talking about envelopes being passed over in restaurants.
Rob Rondell doesn't want to meet with Tommy.
Categorically,
Tommy's not going to meet Rob Rondell.
Rondell.
Categorically, Tommy's not going to meet Rob Rondell.
Do you value the work we do? Do you value the content we brought you? Do you want to see more of it? Do you want to see the paedophiles looking over their shoulders? Do you want the establishment rattled? Wait until you see the work we will bring you, the content we will bring you. We can't do it without your support. It costs money, security, travel, expenses, surveillance, all of it is money. Please do your part. If you want to become a producer, you can sit there and watch our next film and think, I made that, because you would have made it. If you support us monthly, sign on this donation link. Urban Scoop needs your support. Help us make the content to make the difference. Thank you. Since the making of episode 1, many of the men we're interested in, they've fled to Pakistan. Our main subject in this episode fled to Pakistan and he's yet to return. Literally, men from Telford might as well have chartered their own planes to Kashmir. But I'd like to say a thank you. A thank you to members of the Muslim community, because many of them have come forward from Telford and pointed us in the right direction for our investigations. More and more people in Telford have come forward to tell us their stories and tell us what's really going on. We've connected local MP Lucy Allen, who's very strong on this issue. We've connected her to a victim who is trapped and is in need of help. Hopefully she's going to help her. Bearing in mind Telford Police have refused to meet me, we've been in contact with the National Crime Agency, the NCA, about the information that we've gathered. And there has been a frenzy of house attacks and car fire bombings. This is a new episode. It's a new investigation. They're new allegations, but they're all part of the same network of related families. For this episode, we're looking at the Hussains, the Iqbals, and the Khans. And the Ahmeds, we'll catch up with you in a future episode. I want to be clear before I start. Where allegations are made, nothing has been proven. And we will be giving the accused the right to reply. Finally, if you're one of those people who is going through keyboard abuse at our survivors, as has happened with Nicole, they deserved it. They wanted it. They're lying. Just remember, there are multiple allegations against each individual we're going to approach. And remember, these stories are about little girls, some as young as 10, being violently gang raped by adult men. Take a long, hard look at yourselves. We're ready, yeah? So, anytime, if you want to stop. I know it's probably been difficult coming here, and more difficult what I'm going to ask you to talk about. I read your independent inquiry. It's devastating. Is it all right if we just start at the beginning and literally just have a conversation where we flow through, and if there's bits I want to question you more on, then I will, if that's all right with you. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, first of all, when was you born?
1984.
1984. And you grew up in?
Telford.
In Telford. And what was your childhood like?
Had a good childhood until things started going wrong, probably around the age of 12. My dad was an alcoholic and I was always his shadow. Wherever he went, I went. So I was always going to the pubs with him to look after him.
And at which age did your abuse start?
Well, the grooming started when I was about 14, but I didn't, it started going really bad when I was 15.
Explain to me what grooming is. What's the process, so that people understand the process that happens to a young girl?
They start taking you out in the cars, buying you things, not asking you for nothing, just being nice, saying that they, want to be your friend, your best friend.
What sort of things do they buy you?
They start off with fags, alcohol, credit, then it'd be food, jewellery. After they know that they've got your trust and stuff, then that's when they start, they say that they're your boyfriend, make you feel that, you're loved and you're special. And then after a while, they start introducing you to other men.
Can we talk about your first time that this started with you? Can we talk about who it started with and tell me what happened?
The first time for me was with someone from the Royal Balti in Wellington. My friends was already involved. They was involved from the age of 12 and 13. One day my friend asked me to go with her to the Royal Balti, as she was sleeping with a man there, the owner of the business.
And who's that?
Abdul Latif.
And he's the owner of the Royal Balti?
In Wellington. He owns Peppers in Trench as well.
So how old was she?
She was about 12.
And she was having sex, being raped by him?
Yeah, she'd make me stand outside the door upstairs while she went in there with him, and she used to say to me, make out my mum's rang in 5 minutes and say that I've got to go home quick.
To get her out of there?
So I used to make out, we've got to go, your mum's going mad. And then, so she didn't have to stay there for that long.
This is an Indian restaurant. Were there customers in the restaurant at the time of this?
Yeah.
You were upstairs in a side room then?
You go upstairs, there's all rooms upstairs.
Okay. Was this the first time you were physically or sexually assaulted?
No, it just started off me going there with her.
Okay.
And then we started going on deliveries with one of the drivers there.
Who was the driver?
He was called Mia, that's all I know. He was from Birmingham in Handsworth.
Okay.
The one day he just said to me when he was dropping us off home that I was the cute one, and he went to give me a kiss and I just ran. I jumped out the car and ran.
So you're all children, and they're organising you to lose your virginity with who?
Mia, the driver, because my friend who was going with the owner, they organised it all between them.
So where did you lose your virginity?
At the Royal Balti.
In the Indian restaurant, upstairs. And how old was Mia?
He was late 30s.
Late 30s. And you at this point were 14 or 15?
15.
15. So this is the car park of the Royal Balti.
Up them stairs, yeah, up them stairs. I think it was that far room.
And that far room?
That's where it happened.
So this far room here, in the corner, is that where you lost your virginity?
Yeah, 29th of August, 1999.
Do you remember the date? Is the restaurant open?
Yeah.
There's customers?
All the workmen are working in there, and they kept coming into the kitchen. That's where we had to stay in there.
Yeah.
Be in the kitchen as well. And they'd come in and grope us all, and then they'd go back out.
They'd come in and touch you all up.
Yeah.
So there's kids in here being touched up, kids in here being raped,
yeah,
and unsuspecting customers sitting out there having their Indian restaurant, having their food.
Yeah. There was Abdul Latif, the owner.
Yeah.
One of the drivers.
Where was Abdul Latif from?
They're all from Birmingham.
They're all from Birmingham.
They just used to drive down.
They used to drive down to this restaurant, and then they'd have all the local young girls, English girls, they'd be raping them in here.
Yeah.
Abdul Latif, Mia. How old was Abdul?
30s as well.
30s.
And then there was Islan, he was late 20s. And there was another one called, I think his name was Sham. He looked a bit like that one that was just out here, but I don't know 100% if it is the same one. because obviously it's years ago.
Yeah.
But he had like his looks.
So that could have been him standing there.
Yeah.
Did he rape you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All 4 of them.
All 4 of them raped you. And you've been to the police?
Yeah.
About these men as well?
They've got their photos as well.
They've got their photos. You've took them to this restaurant.
There's even on the pictures, they're groping me on the pictures.
And the pictures the police have?
Yeah.
And you're a child?
And my dad reported it as well.
Back?
But the police said that they couldn't do nothing because I gave consent.
You're a child?
I was 15 and they said that they couldn't do anything because my dad goes, I want them done. And they said we can't do anything because she gave consent.
What year was this?
1999.
Was it upstairs in the bedroom? Was it?
Yeah, there was a bed in there. It was really untidy, there's like stuff everywhere.
So you've now lost your virginity, you're 15 years old, you've lost your virginity to, was he a Pakistani? Was he?
Bangladesh.
A Bangladeshi. You lost your virginity to a 30-year-old Bangladeshi from Birmingham. Did it stop there?
No, that was just when everything went wrong after that. Going to school and my friend Lucy and her boyfriend at the time picked us up and I started getting to know him more.
Is this Lucy
Lowe?
Lucy Lowe, who was murdered?
Yeah.
And her boyfriend's name?
Azzy.
Azzy, okay.
He started ringing me a lot. Just being nice, wanting to chat and telling me about Lucy and stuff and how she'd done his head in and things like that. Every time I was upset, he'd always like talk to me and he used to say, if you ever get upset, if anything bad happens, you know, you can always ring me and stuff, I'll always be there for you. And he gave my number out to a nation called Jibby, and Jibby gave my number to someone called Bash, and then it was Bash who passed my number on to Munchie, and then things got a whole lot worse from there.
So you heard in chapter 1, Nicole's story, how these men got control of her at the age of 11 through their restaurant and their takeaway delivery business. Now we hear the same story from... And once it started, her number was passed from one man to another man, from Jibby to Bash, from Bash to Munchie. King Ahmed, as he calls himself, or Mushtaq Ahmed Hussain, now the proud owner of the Mumbai Lounge. We'll come back to Bash shortly, but for now, let's meet Munchie, who we've been watching.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ
Yeah, that's right. Like the others, he's performing Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca, so devout in his religion, just like anti-grooming preacher Muhammad Charlie Khan from episode 1. Given the testimonies we've heard, on and off, we've been watching him for a couple of years. We can't show you everything here, but we'll share everything we have with the police. What we can tell you is that Munchie, Mushtaq Ahmed, Kayani King Ahmed, as he likes to call himself, is the sole director of the Mumbai Lounge. And it's therefore the Mumbai Lounge and locations he frequents that we're interested in.
ਸਾਡੇ ਰਤਬੇ ਮੜਕ ਠਰਮੇ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਬਾਲਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਜਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਰਤਬੇ ਮੜਕ ਠਰਮੇ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪਤਾ ਬਾਲਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਜਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੀ ਯਾਰੀ ਔਖੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਐ ਜੋ ਸੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੰਡੂ ਫਿਰਨ ਬਥੇਰੇ ਜੋ ਟੋ ਟੋ ਕੇ ਦੇਖਣ ਜੇਬਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਹੀਂ ਮੁੱਢ ਤੋਂ ਆਸਤਰ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਿੱਤਰਾ ਉੱਠਣੀ ਬਹਿਣੀ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੱਟ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ
To put things into context, we're told our main subject, Munchie, is cousins with Muhammad Charlie Khan and Bugsy Khan from episode 1. We're also told that Munchie is cousins with Nazir Ahmed. We'll catch up with Nazir Ahmed's family in a future episode. But Munchie has two sisters, Nazir Begum, who is married to Zafar Iqbal, nicknamed Crowy. Remember that name, because we're going to catch up with him later in this episode, okay? He has another sister, Khan, also known as Razia Begum. Now, Razia Begum is married to Mohammed Charlie Khan from episode 1. You can see how intertwined these families are. Who's Munchie?
Mushtaq Ahmed.
Talk me through what happened when you first met him and how things developed with him.
He kept ringing me for weeks, saying that he knew he could see me. He was driving past me. He knew what I was wearing. He knew everything about me. So I started getting paranoid, looking around the streets, thinking, "Who's this man? How does he know me?" Then he just kept sending me all nice text messages and like love poems and stuff. And and you used to get them me to you teddy bear pictures. I was talking to him for ages, and then I met him. He picked me up from TCAT one day when I was there on an induction day. He just took me to a car park and we was talking, and then he arranged to pick me up from school the next day.
How old was Munchie?
He was about 32.
32, and he's picking you up from school, so you're a school child and he was picking you up from school?
Yeah. He started taking me to his restaurant after school.
So can you talk me through some of the incidents with Munchie? I know this is going to be difficult because I've read some of them.
Obviously I thought I was going out with him. Don't know, he's just really nice to begin with. Take me to the restaurant and then I'd get there and he'd make me some food. I'd have my food and things like that, but then after a while it started to get bad. Like at the end of the night when everyone would like close up and it'd all finish, he'd take me round like the corner, we'll turn all the lights off and just the radio would be on, and then he'd have sex with me. But then as I went to get up to get dressed to go home, that's when all the others would walk in.
All the others?
The workers.
The workers at the restaurant. How old were you at this point?
15.
So he'd rape you. You say have sex. You thought you was his girlfriend, but he'd rape you. And then afterwards, all of the other workers would come in and...
Yeah, because I'd be fighting, and then he'd be laughing. He'd like be trying to pin me down, and I wouldn't give in. So he'd laugh for ages, and he'd just say, "She does want it. She's just playing hard to get." And I'd be saying to him, "No, I'm not. Leave me alone." And then when he couldn't like pin me down, he'd start getting angry. Then that's when he'd like get angry and get a bit violent because he was, not winning, wasn't doing what he wanted. Then he'd just pin me down and just let them all have me.
When you say them all, how many men?
About 5 or 6.
So he'd rape you and then he'd hold you down whilst 5 or 6 other men who work at his restaurant would rape you. Do you know who any of those other men were?
Yeah. His brother-in-law.
His brother-in-law? Who's his brother-in-law?
He goes by the name of Crowy or Cobra.
So Munchie is raping you with his brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Together?
He was like the main one.
In these incidents, did they say anything to you? What sort of... Did they call you anything? Did they?
I was always a slag and a whore.
Did they ever use any of their own language regularly?
Yeah. All the time. It was like white trash and stuff like that. And white skin. They'd always use like words like chitty chumbri and yagora.
What's chitty chumbri mean?
I'm not too sure now, I can't remember. I think it's like...
I'll look it up.
They'd always call me names, like Munchie was the worst. Like after everything happened and he'd like made me sleep with them all, then I was a slag. He'd just start calling me names and I used to say to him, "You're the one that made me go with him. I didn't want to, so how am I a slag?" And he'd be like, "You loved it." That's all I'd get off him. I'd be there thinking, I'm never coming near these ever again. I really can't. I've got to stay away. I don't care. I'm going to have to run away. I'm going to have to get away from here. And you just plan in your head, I've got to go. But then, like, the next day he started getting all nice messages again and stuff. Munchie would be all like, I love you, I'm sorry, thank you for doing that for me, now I know you love me, stuff and things like that.
Just manipulating a little child's mind.
Or it'd be like, they mention like another Asian name and say, oh, their girlfriend does that for them.
So sometimes when this was happening to you upstairs, would you say there's been
It
customers
wasn't
down?
upstairs, it was in the actual restaurant.
This happened
where
in the
the table
restaurant?
was on the floor.
On the floor of the restaurant?
Yeah. This was when they'd all gone.
When they'd all gone?
Yeah.
So when they'd all gone, they'd get you in the restaurant?
You'd lock all up.
So you've heard allegations that Munchie, a man in his 30s, got hold of a phone number of a 15-year-old schoolgirl, harassed her, groomed her by sending her teddy bears and getting her to believe she was his girlfriend. And then he raped her. He let all the other restaurant workers rape her. And more often than not, was raping her alongside his brother-in-law, the husband of his sister, Chloe, Cobra. Real name, Zafar Iqbal. It seems like this is a family business. And this happened day after day after day for years. And while we're looking at the family business, we could investigate Munchie's kids for allegations made against them. But one of them, he's landed in the middle of our documentary. Let's introduce him.
I'm in the street.
Damn right.
I'm Albanian blood. I'm a gangster.
بالبار انت حبيبي وحدك ما سيني بطرا ميكي نارون جتا تو جولي ميكي ريجو
My McQueen's in that, bro. All ready up, steady up, yeah?
ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਛੱਡਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਵੱਡੇ ਘਰ ਵੜਦਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਵੈਲੀ ਬੂਟ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਲਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਪਟੇ ਪਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਲੰਮੇ ਤੇ ਮੁੱਛ ਦਾੜੀ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਵਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਚੱਬ ਚੱਬ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਉਹ ਚਿੰਗਮ
Munchie's son, Izar Ahmed Hussain, or Flash, or Goldie, or Camp Gangster. We'll meet him later.
I read of another incident in your report where you, I believe, went to hospital after, where you were bleeding. Can you talk me through that incident and who was involved in it?
There was about 3 times that I had to go.
Three separate times you had to go to hospital?
The one was like over the road from where it happened.
So where raped, what happened?
Munchie took me to this house. It was like in a cul-de-sac opposite that house. I remember sitting in the front room, they had the telly on, and then this Munchie put some porn on, and then he was saying, joking around to me, saying like, you gonna make a movie and stuff, and I was like, no, get lost, like laughing with him. And then I just had a drink, and then next thing I knew I was in bed upstairs. I don't know how I got there or nothing.
With who?
All of them that was there.
How many of them?
Probably saying about 5, 6, 7, I don't know.
Who was there?
There's Munchie and Tolly, because they were the ones that was on me as well.
Munchie and Tolly. And when you was upstairs in the bedroom, what was happening?
And they was all raping me.
At the same time?
Yeah, they was all on me.
All of them on you?
And I just kept like, when you can't stay awake. I was like that. And I couldn't even move my legs or my arms or nothing. My whole body was dead. And you feel like you're hallucinating. It was just like that. So I remember someone at the corner recorded me.
They were filming it?
Yeah.
Munchie?
Yeah.
Who was raping you?
And there was Crowe.
Crowe, the brother-in-law?
And Purveyor.
And they're all raping you at the same time? In different holes?
Yeah.
And the police still don't think that this needs to be prosecuted?
No.
Did you attend hospital?
Yeah, I had to because I was really sore and really bad, and I felt like I was all damaged. But I remember when I walked in, I had to go to the GU clinic at the hospital because my doctors told me to go there.
Did they think, when you've turned up, so you've turned up as a child, as a young girl, in a hospital, bleeding from front and back, swollen?
Really bad.
Really swollen? Did they ring the police?
No.
Who brought you to the hospital?
I took myself.
Took yourself, so you've gone as a young child on your own to a hospital?
Because at first when you go in, they take you in this room and this woman talks to you and asks you what's happened and why you're there. And then you have to go in and get examined.
And you say you ended up in hospital multiple times?
Yeah. They gave me a card once and said if I need someone to talk to, so like a counsellor or something.
They gave you a card, they never rang the police?
No.
So I believe you went to see your doctor as well, am I right?
Yeah.
What was your doctor's name?
At the time, it was called Dr. Swallow.
What did he say?
I said to him the one day, I went, am I infertile? And he said, why did you say that? And I said, because I haven't got pregnant and all this, all this stuff's like, I keep coming here all the time for like morning after pill. I said, how come I haven't got pregnant? I said, am I infertile? And he said, no, I doubt it, and this, that and the other. He said, are you the lady of the night?
Are you a lady of the night?
But I didn't understand what he meant then. I didn't get what he meant.
Are you a lady of the night? Are you a prostitute? And you was a child at this time as well?
Yeah.
He never questioned you further?
Nothing.
No contact? What have social services been? What were they like when you were young?
I didn't really see anyone. I saw one man called I always remember his name. I seen him at the police station. And he just, I wouldn't talk then. I was too scared to say anything. And he just gave me a card and he said, here's my card if you ever want to talk. I always kept it for years.
You used to go missing for days?
Sometimes weeks.
Sometimes weeks?
Yeah, and the police would be looking for me. My mum and dad had been worried sick, ringing the police.
And where would you be?
In Birmingham mainly.
Your little friendship group, the school you went to, how many girls, say in your class, do you think were being forced to have sex with older Muslim men?
There's about 7, 8 of them.
7, 8 girls? In your class? Just in your class?
Yeah.
So the numbers we're looking at here of how many children have been affected and how many children have been raped.
All you had to do was walk down Wellington and there was just every girl you see on the churchyard, in High Street, at the bus stop.
A lot of this seems to be centred around Indian restaurants. Can I ask what nationality were the men that were raping you? Were they Indian?
No.
No.
Pakistanis.
They're Pakistanis. How many Indian restaurants do you think in Telford are children being raped in?
I'm not too sure. Like now.
How many do you know of when you was younger?
When I was younger, there was probably about 10.
About 10?
Now, another town this week joined the list of shame, where sex gangs have roamed seemingly unchecked to prey on girls as young as 11, raping, drugging, beating, trafficking, and potentially even murdering them in the process. What's happened in Telford could be the worst case of a paedophile gang involved in widespread child abuse the country has ever seen. But as I read the names of those convicted, something struck me. In Telford, they included Azir Ali Mahmood, Mubarak Ali, and Adel Ali. In a similar case in Rotherham, Razwan Razag, Adil Hussein, and Zafran Ramzan were among the guilty. To Rochdale now. Mohammed Amin, Abdul Aziz and Mohammed Sajid, among others, were convicted. And now to Oxford, where it was Anjam Dogar, Kamir Jamil and Zishan Ahmed ending up behind bars. Now, a very broad reckoning of the guilty shows around 80% are men of Pakistani and Bangladeshi origin. Well, a couple of observations then. Why do they appear to view white girls as objects to be traded and even disposed of? And what is their community doing about it?
We have to acknowledge that sex and sexuality and gender and respect for the opposite gender are issues within certain parts of the diaspora. That's the South Asian community, the Arab community, and large sections of the Muslim community. These are things that we have to discuss.
If you look just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. If you just read the Quran, it is halal, it would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and the ones who had never been pubescent before. And by the way, this is very important, yeah? I want all Muslims to be aware of this. The reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds or whatever is not because of puberty. The Quran doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent. I dare you to find one verse in the Quran where it says you're not allowed to marry someone based on harm, or you're not allowed to have sexual intercourse based on harm, or you're not allowed to marry someone based on puberty. So if you're a Quran alone, you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds. Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent. One verse. I want one verse in the Quran from the beginning of the book to the end of the book which says that she has to be pubescent.
And Daniel, you know what? It's too depressing to carry on. It goes on and on. One second, Daniel. The pattern in all of these, overwhelmingly, is South Asian Muslim men, primarily Pakistani, sometimes Somali Muslims, sometimes North African Muslims. It doesn't help us, Daniel, to pretend this wasn't a phenomenon that was replicated across the country. What I would advise you said you're a South Asian Muslim man, therefore your name probably is Daniel or something other than Daniel. I would advise you to address this topic head on and not pretend it's not a national phenomenon, because I guarantee you that anger will rise if you come on radio and pretend this is not a national problem.
It is an issue, and it's an issue about how those young men think of women of their own ethnicity who attempt to be off limits, and then what they do about vulnerable white girls. And there's no point pretending this is not a problem, because it is.
We need a proper, thorough investigation by the police, gathering together all the information about all these cases in different parts of the country to see whether there are patterns and networks that need to be addressed in order to stop this crime. I don't think that we can make that jump necessarily to it being a cultural problem.
Yes, Keith Vass MP doesn't think we can jump to the conclusion that this industrial-scale rape and gang rape of little white girls is a cultural problem. Well, he's always had a casual relationship with the truth and with reality, and he's always been happy to prostitute himself and his views for his own benefit. And talking of prostitutes, here he is with 2 male prostitutes complaining that he, and I quote, had to fuck one of them without a condom. I think we'll ignore the commentary on grooming from Keith. Incidentally, Keith Vass left the House of Commons and a few weeks later was back working for the Labour Party. And let's not forget the ennobled Lord Ahmed of Rotherham. Yes, Rotherham, who in February 2022 got 5.5 years in prison for the sexual assault of 2 children, including buggery. That's anal rape and attempted rape. His brothers, both called Mohammed, were also charged but considered by some idiot somewhere as unfit to stand trial. So it looks like child abuse is a family business here as well. That was February this year. And in the interest of balance, just this April, Tory MP Imran Ahmed Khan was found guilty of molesting a young boy while at the same time advising the government of child sexual exploitation. You really couldn't make this up. Yeah, that's right. Amjad Ditta, also known as Amjad Hussain, a serving police officer, was charged along with 15 other men, all except one of them, Muslims, with sexual offences against children. Our leaders are so desperate in their efforts to sell us a multicultural utopia, they will cosy up to, promote and even ennoble anyone with brown skin. Muslims the most favoured, of course, regardless of the content of their character. And the cost of this ideological stupidity is the suffering of children.
What is concerning is if pockets of our country, communities like ours, Daniel, yours and mine, are disproportionately involved in any one type of crime. That disproportionate number raises questions about our attitudes, our meaning British Pakistani men, our attitudes towards the rest of society, and whether we have a Muslim supremacist attitude. One of the defendants in this case, Daniel, I'm sorry you're not going to like hearing this stuff, but the truth doesn't necessarily care about your feelings. One of the main defendants in trial argued that it's his religious right to have sex with underage girls, and that was his defense. Look it up, Daniel. It is unbelievable. And you and I know that that kind of argument gets bandied about. You and I know, and if you don't believe me again, look it up, that in Pakistan, you're my country of origin, where our parents are from, when they tried to raise the age of sexual consent, it was shot down by the Ideological Council of Guarding Islamic Culture in Pakistan, shot down in Parliament and deemed blasphemous for trying to raise the age of consent. Because religion gets involved, culture gets involved. We've got to be able to have this conversation without being in denial, Dan. I really wish, for goodness sake, after the appeal I put out on the radio, I wish you'd called up and your first thought had been about these underage young white girls, the victims. I wish the first thing you did is call up this radio and say how disgusting to do this to these underage young victims. Instead, you want to obfuscate and talk to me about how I'm, giving statistics that you don't like. And it's just, this is what frustrates me, Daniel. Why was that your first reaction to the topic instead of thinking of the girls? And that's why I think it's about time that we just stop pretending this isn't a problem and address it head on, recognise there is this disproportionate problem within our communities, and worry about the victims.
We need very briefly to say this is a class problem, this is a cultural problem, and this is also a language problem.
Religion as well, by the way.
Also religion, because firstly on language, these are paedophiles who are raping children. Okay, let's just accept that. And these are not women, these are not girls in relationships.
Yes,
we haven't talked about class, and the reason why the authorities turned a blind eye and threw these girls under a bus or to the wolves was because they were, as it were, in an underclass. They thought these girls are out of education, they've been failed by social services. Honestly, if these were middle-class girls at boarding school, do you honestly think these children would not have been taken proper care of by the boarding school?
Across Europe, not just in Britain, there's a disproportionate rate of offending by either Muslim migrants or Muslims born and raised in Europe against white girls. And there are class reasons to it, there are patriarchal reasons to it. Why it happens in Muslim majority nations is largely due to the social conservative attitudes in society and their patriarchal and misogynist attitudes towards women, and also cultural elements kick in. Now, for example, fundamentalist interpretations of Islam believe that as long as you have consent of the father, there's no underage, there's no pre-puberty, there's no limit on marrying a girl. They refer to the Prophet having married a 9 or 11-year-old, depending on the age of reference.
Right.
These attitudes must be challenged and they must be addressed.
If my daughter, if my daughter wants to make hold on, let me finish. If my daughter reached the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
This scandal involving 27 cities with probably thousands of underage young girls, it must lead to a Stephen Lawrence-style national inquiry looking into what the institutional failures have been. There has been failures on an institutional level in the care homes up and down this country. There have been failures on an institutional level in the police up and down this country. And there have been failures on an institutional level in local Labour councils, probably not only Labour, but mainly Labour councils up and down this country, because people have been scared of being called racist. And the fear of racism, or the fear of so-called Islamophobia, which is a misnomer, the fear, more appropriately, of anti-Muslim bigotry, must never be an excuse to allow underage girls to be raped and abused in this way. But it was. Think of that. Imagine that. 27 cities and counting because I can guarantee you we haven't heard the end of this yet. Imagine the thousands of victims. Imagine the impunity with which these men must have been acting. It is an absolute disgrace that this has been allowed to go on in this country, and you may hear me being angry right now. If you're not going to be angry about this, what on earth are you going to get angry about? Don't tell me that their Muslim identity had nothing to do with this. I have lived and breathed this community all of my life. I can guarantee you that it's not the cause, but a factor in the way in which these girls was treated was the culture of these men, and as part of that culture is their religious attitude towards non-Muslims. And that is the reason that you see almost exclusively that they are men like me, Pakistani, British, Muslim. Most of them. Some of them Bangladeshi Muslims, some of them Indian Muslims, some of them North African Muslims, some of them Somali Muslims. All of them Muslims, almost all Pakistani Muslims. And the victims, almost all underaged white girls. Now, who will lead, who will defend the voiceless in this national scandal?
So there has been media coverage, and some courageous individuals, not least Maajid Nawaz, they've spoken out about how nearly all of the men involved in this gang rape of little white girls are Pakistani Muslims. And most of the rest, they're Muslims as well. We hear two leading Islamic influencers speaking at Speaker's Corner. One explained that the Quran, Allah's words, say nothing to prevent sex with 5-year-olds. The other saying he'd be happy for his daughter to get married at 9 if she'd reached puberty. Is there something in the doctrine of Islam that is making some people think that this abhorrent behaviour is acceptable? Well, this bit is important. I want to make sure we give a fair representation of Islam's doctrines. Almost a decade ago, before I was totally cancelled from TV and social media, I was using my voice to question the teachings of Islam that sanction the rape and slavery of non-Muslim women.
We as a community, if you like, have to be honest and open about that. We've all got a duty to tackle child abuse. But the difference is
You're a heroic moderate for saying it. I'm a far-right hooligan.
Anne Cryer tried but failed to get her local mosque to talk to suspects' families.
I went to a friend of mine who was a local councillor, and he happened to be a Muslim, and therefore he was able to represent me to the elders, because I thought it was a good move to try to get those elders involved.
Yeah, it was a good move.
And I hoped that I would be able to persuade the elders to go knocking on doors and say to them, this behaviour is un-Islamic and I want it to stop, because I'm going to tell the whole community about you and what you're doing if you don't. Now, they weren't prepared to do that.
There is a possibility for me that this is linked to Islam. Maybe it's not, but maybe it is. When you have in the Quran...
How can you say it's linked to Islam?
Because
on what basis? What's your evidence?
Okay, the Quran, you can take sexual slaves.
You
can take sexual slaves.
Whatever you read
outside of your four wives...
That you can take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. I don't think you could find it.
It is nice to see you reading the Quran, though, I have to say. It's obviously not making a difference, is it? Because you still distorted it.
No, I'm not distorting. I'm reading it. If you fear that you not deal justly with the orphan girls, then marry those that please you of other women, 2, 3 or 4. If you fear that that will not be just, then take what your right arm possesses, i.e. slaves.
Where does it say sexual slaves?
Slaves, you can take...
No, where does it say sexual slaves? Where does it say sexual slaves? Don't distort it.
Well, maybe it's not me misrepresenting it. Maybe it's the groomers that are misrepresenting this. Would we all agree that these girls that have been targeted in these gangs are slaves, being treated like slaves? Can we agree?
Look, I think that is a very unhelpful way of tackling the issue.
They're being treated like slaves, and we have chapters in here that tell them it's okay to take non-Muslim women as slaves, and to me, that needs to be explored.
To Mo, Tommy continually tries to unfairly blame the religion of Islam for criminal acts.
Tommy's tried to create a link between some theological aspects and linking them with paedophilia, and that's wrong. Whatever sources he's using, they're deeply flawed.
It says in the Quran that you can take non-Muslim women as slaves. What do they do with slaves? If it's in there, we must explore that avenue.
A meeting was set up in London at the end of August with 2 experts on the Quran. Dr. Osama Hassan from Quilliam is a scientist and Islamic scholar, whilst historian Tom Holland has written groundbreaking books on the birth of Islam. Tommy used this opportunity to go straight to his belief that it is Islamic texts that are to blame for gang abuse of young girls.
Basically, outside of your four wives, you can take whatever your right arm possesses, yeah? Now, how do we understand that?
That referred to slavery, which are concubines. Yeah, concubine, which included sexual slavery. Now, that was part of ancient culture.
Tom is delighted they seem to agree with his position.
تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وإنك لمن المرسلين.
That's right. Allah tells Muhammad to tell us that the verses in the Quran are directly from Allah. Allah is Islam's God. That's chapter 2, verse 252 of the Quran. Allah also tells Muhammad to tell us that he, Muhammad, is an excellent example to follow. Some translations say good, some say perfect, some say the best. That's Surah 33:21. Allah tells Muhammad to tell us that he, Muhammad, and I'm quoting him here, is of great moral character, or a man of outstanding character, sublime, exalted, highest, noblest, depending on which translation you prefer. That's Surah 68:4. And finally, and importantly, and for the free-thinking Muslims out there, take note. Once Allah and Muhammad have decided on something, you don't have any option. You don't have any choice in the matter. There's a fatalism to that, I think. Inshallah. As Sir Nicholas Soames' grandfather, Winston Churchill, said, "How dreadful are the curses which Mohammedanism lays on its votaries. Besides a fanatical frenzy, which is as dangerous in a man as rabies in a dog, there is this fearful, fatalistic apathy. The effects are apparent in many countries. Improvident habits, slovenly systems of agriculture, sluggish methods of commerce, and insecurity of property exists wherever the followers of the Prophet rule or live. A degraded sensualism deprives this life of its grace and refinement, the next of its dignity and sanctity. The fact that in Mohammedan law, every woman must belong to some man has his absolute property, either as a child, a wife, or a concubine, a slave, must delay the final extinction of slavery until the faith of Islam has ceased to be a great power among men. Thousands become brave and loyal soldiers of the faith. All know how to die, but the influence of the religion paralyses the social development of those who follow it. No stronger retrograde force exists in this world. Far from being moribund, Mohammedanism is a militant and proselytizing faith. It has already spread throughout Central Africa, raising fearless warriors at every step. And were it not that Christianity is sheltered in the strong arms of science, the science against which it has vainly struggled, the civilization of modern Europe might fall, as fell the civilization of ancient Rome. Let's just repeat that last verse from Winston Churchill. The civilization of modern Europe might fall, as fell the civilization of ancient Rome. Now, he'd made these comments before there were 5 million followers of Islam in Britain. All that put simply, Muhammad said Allah was speaking to him, and Allah said Muhammad was the last prophet. Allah said Muhammad was the perfect example and of great moral character, and Allah said Muhammad had to be obeyed. Allah said if Muhammad and Allah have decided on something, you've got no option, no room for free thinking, no freedom of conscience, no opinion. You've got no freedom. One other critical consideration when trying to understand how the gang rape of children has gone on for so long, that's over 40 years, in Britain, is understanding an Islamic worldview. I don't separate the world. Islamic doctrine does. We have Dar al-Islam, the land of Islam. That's countries under the control of Islam. We have Dar al-Harb, the land of war. countries where Muslims are fighting to establish Islam. Many Muslims see the UK itself as a land of war. That's because the UK has been fighting in Muslim countries. Think of our foreign policy: Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. And in this case, the taking of sexual slaves from the enemy, whether it be white girls in the UK or Yazidi girls in Iraq, it's a right. It's Malak al-Yamin. These girls are what Islam refers to as their right-hand possessions. There's many verses in this book. Pick it up, read it. There are many verses in this book which legitimise, which sanction, which give permission for Muslim men to take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. For time's sakes, I'm just going to look at two. Quran 4:24. Also forbidden are women already married, except those slaves who your right hand possesses. It's outside of your four wives. You can take non-Muslim women as sexual slaves. That's what it says in the Quran. Quran 23:6. Successful believers are those who guard their chastity. And I quote from verse 6, except from their wives or the slaves that their right hand possess. For then they are free from blame. Free from blame. They can take slave women, have sex with them outside of their wives, and they are free from blame. So says Muhammad, the perfect moral compass for the Muslim world, who's instructed by God. Okay? That's what it says. Let's examine one more verse. Chapter 65, verse 4. In a section from Allah about the rules for men divorcing women. And I quote, and for those who don't have periods, i.e. they are still immature. These are the words in the Quran. They are still immature. The waiting period is 3 months. So if you want to divorce a child who has not yet started her periods, she has to wait 3 months before marrying again. So you can marry a child who hasn't started her period. I don't know what you're doing during your marriage to this child, but then you might fall out with her or something, or decide to divorce her, and you have to wait 3 months. That's what it says in the book. Now, is there anyone out there that wants to argue with me that girls in towns like Telford, Rotherham, Rochdale, Aylesbury, all these cities, I could go on and on. Does anyone want to argue with me that these English girls have not been taken as slaves, sexual slaves, by Muslim men? So whether it's the importance of Muhammad's example and the need to follow it, or Allah's revealed words in the Quran about divorcing prepubescent girls, making it clear sex with children is okay, or whether it's Allah's ruling that it's allowed, it's permitted to have sex with slaves in your possession, under your control, it's blameless. Because the UK is viewed as a land of war, or Allah's words about entering women any way you want, ploughing them like farmland. We have to ask, could any of these things be factors in the industrial scale abuse of children that we're seeing? What influence might all of these teachings be having in a town like Telford? Let's have a little look at the numbers. Telford has a total population of 166,000 people, 88,000 males. Once you take away the under 16s and the over 65s, you're left with 53,000. Telford only has a 1.8% Muslim population. That means there's 956 working age Muslim men in Telford. Operation Chalice. The police operation in Telford identified 100 victims alone in a year and 200 suspects. 200 suspects from 956 males. 20.9%. 1 in 5 men in that town have been raping our children.
Well, it was more than 50 for me, but that was just like 50 from Munchie, probably. There's probably about 250 men altogether.
250
And I named all them in my diary.
250 just for you?
Mm-hmm.
All from Telford?
Yep. But when I did my police IDs, I ID'd every single one. And when I went to ID them all, straight away I went, that's him.
So you named 250 men to the police. And how many men have actually been sent to prison for attacking you?
None of them.
None.
They only arrested 25 because they said they wanted to get the main ones. But but they only arrested 25. Most of them said they didn't know me, even though I'd ID'd them. And Munchie said he knew me and said he had a relationship with me, but that's as far as he admitted.
So Munchie was questioned over the attacks?
Yeah.
And he was never charged?
No. Because they said it was going to be my word over theirs, and I was on my own. I did have one witness. He was a man who witnessed what Jibby and Bash and Majid and that did to me in that flat, because he witnessed, he was living there. He heard me screaming, he heard me crying, and he saw me coming down in a mess, and he heard me like screaming for help and crying. So he wrote a statement for me saying that he did witness all that.
Was he a Pakistani man?
He was a white man. So he was willing to go to court for me, but then nothing went. That's another house we was talked to by Bash.
This is another house just literally around the corner again.
Yeah, it's right opposite the shop.
And Bash took you here for
the same thing.
Sex with lots of men.
Yeah, he bought alcohol.
Bash would buy the alcohol.
The food, saying it was a party.
And the party would be you and
me.
Just you.
Me. And other men.
So Bash would organise a party in this house?
Yeah.
Where's the women in this house?
There was no one there.
No women?
I think it's when they send them
back to Pakistan?
Yeah.
Then they'd get you round as a kid?
Because when I went upstairs to the toilet, I could see like a kid's room with all kids' stuff.
But none of them
There's
there.
all baby stuff everywhere.
They'd bring you in the house. And how many men would visit the house in the night?
Probably about 7, 8.
You'd be forced to...
Yeah. Sleep with them.
And Bash organised this?
Yeah.
And who's Bash?
He's Munchie's. He was Munchie's best mate.
Munchie's best mate. Okay.
He was like one of the first ones.
For you?
Yeah, it was him and Jibby that I spoke about in the flats in Dot Hill.
Okay. Right, go next one, Mark. Next one, please, Mark.
They said that even though CPS said that it would be, they decided not to pursue it because it was me on my own against all of them, and they didn't think I'd be able to cope, and they didn't think that, you know, there would be enough evidence because it was past rather than anything new. It was all past evidence. So they said that they didn't think I'd handle court on my own. But all I know is on the night of the fire, I was at home and I had an argument with my dad, and he took my mobile phone off me. But Bash had already given me a secret phone and said, keep that in case your dad ever gets your phone. And I had a big argument with my dad and I was crying, and I rang Lucy and asked if I could go and sleep there, and she said yeah. And I'd spoke to them. I can't remember if Bash rang me or I rang them. I think they might have rang me, I can't remember. But I was speaking to him anyway, and Bash told me not to go to Lucy's. He told me to stay at home, and he said that he was going to look into getting me a place to live and stuff like that. He said, whatever you do, don't go to Lucy's. So I was like, okay. I didn't know why. He just like warned me I wasn't allowed to go. So I didn't think nothing of it. And I just literally cried myself to sleep and fell asleep. And I woke up the next morning to 2 friends, you know, come to my house and that. And I was sat at the bottom of my bed. I'm still like trying to wake up. And they're telling me, like, looking all like sad and saying to me that Lucy's died. And I was like, what do you mean? She's dead and everything. And they said her house got set on fire last night and it's killed them all, basically.
I just want to recap. A man called Bash, Munchie's best friend, was an abuser of He'd arranged parties where men would come and rape. He also warned not to sleep at Lucy Lowe's house the night she was murdered. Did he know about the plan to murder her in advance? Now, Bash, like Izar, we'll be meeting him later. So in episode 1, Nicole's story, there was no further action when there was a fetus, DNA evidence of a rape. In the case, she gave the police over 250 names. 25 men were arrested for the rape and abuse that she suffered. But there were no prosecutions. The alleged perpetrators were untroubled by the flagship police investigation Chalice, and the police decided would not be able to cope with going to court. Took us to many, many houses and restaurants in Telford and the surrounding area where she and others had suffered rape, gang rape and abuse. And tell me what happened here.
I was stopping here with my mate and my kids and her kids, and that's when I got a phone call, and it was obviously Bugsy ringing me up, and they was outside the house.
Who was he with?
Charlie and Tarek. The one time, and then the second time Harry was with him as well, Munchie's brother.
Munchie's brother,
That's when they kept saying like that I had to go with Tarek.
That you had to go, what, into a room with Tarek?
With Tarek, yeah. I just remember them holding the door so I couldn't get back out.
So, okay. So you're in the room with Tarek Mahmood?
Yeah, and he put the bed up against the door because I kept trying to open it to get out.
And they were the only people in the house were Charlie and Bugsy?
And yeah, the first time was Charlie.
The first time. And Tarek Mahmood then has...
Just pushed me on the bed, put the bed up against the door so I couldn't, because I kept trying to get out.
Yeah. Pushed on the bed and raped you.
Yeah. And he kept saying this thing. He kept going, making them all laugh. He kept going, very, very tat.
Very, very tat.
Yeah, in his like freshy accent, like.
Because he's freshy. And
very, very tat.
When you say making them laugh, what they were.
And they were laughing at what he was saying. He kept looking at me and he was going, very, very tat. That was before it all happened.
And you could hear them laughing outside.
It means something like, about your balls, men's balls, like heavy, basically full. I don't know, something like that.
Oh, the word means that his balls were full, so they've brought him round here to empty his.
Basically.
To empty his balls. And they're all laughing.
Yeah.
And that's Charlie, Bugsy and Tarek Mahmood. And then they come back again another time.
Yeah, with Harry.
With Harry. And who were you... what happened that time?
Kind of the same thing.
With Harry?
But Harry didn't do anything.
Oh, it was Tarek Mahmood again? Okay.
Yeah, but Harry was with him the second time.
Okay. So they just thought they could just come here?
Yeah, because they knew, and Munchie knew I was always here at my friend's house.
And they could just come walk in?
Yeah.
Where were your kids at this time?
They're in the bedroom asleep, the other bedroom.
The other bedroom?
I was talking to her lad's bedroom.
That's where they took you?
Into her baby's bedroom, basically her baby's bed. It's like a single bed.
To a single bed? So Charlie and Bugsy have come in here with a refreshing migrant. And when you say who was it, who was it who was it the freshman migrant who was coming here telling you had sex with him, had to have sex with him, or was it?
No, it was Bugsy.
It was Bugsy.
Yeah.
Bugsy was the one dictating what was going on.
Yeah.
We have serious allegations from children who say that you were involved in the rape and prostitution of them, that you were a kingpin having them trafficked in. Well, can we talk? I've got some questions. We have accusations that you trafficked young children. You trafficked young children. You were the kingpin. You chose who they were raped by. You prostituted them. What is your relationship with Inspector Jim Bayliss, Bugsy? What is your relationship with Inspector Jim Bayliss?
When you say freshie, is that how long? Do you know how long he's been here?
He had not long been in the country.
When this was going on, he had not long been in the country. They brought him round to empty his balls. Okay. All right. And okay, thank you. So you remember Bugsy, aka Gulfraz Khan, and Mohammed Charlie Khan from episode 1, and their alleged role in drug dealing and the pimping of Nicole at the age of 11 through to 16, from 2010 to 2015. Well, here we've heard that they were busy doing the same thing, selling young girls for money a decade earlier, taking freshies, as they're called, recently arrived migrants to empty their balls with a white English child. The consequence of a failing justice system is not only years of suffering for our survivor in this episode, but a decade later, endless suffering for Nicole, and who knows how many girls in between. I just want to be fair, okay? Out of these family trees, we have allegations by multiple girls about many of these men, but not all of them. So I'm just going to go through and show us which men in these family trees we have allegations against that they are rapists. Some of these men are named as rapists. And those that aren't named as rapists, many of them are named as drug dealers. But some of them, they're named as drug dealers and rapists. But I don't want to label every single person on this, so we're just going to go through and see which ones we've got allegations against drug dealing for. So the courageous survivors know where they were abused. They know the houses. They know the businesses. They know where they were raped by gangs of men. The police are aware of which premises are being used to abuse and rape children. The council are aware. The media and the newspapers, they're fully aware. But the parents and the children of Telford, they may not be aware of what is happening to young children in some restaurants as they close, or upstairs, or while people are eating downstairs, or in the kitchen by the waiters in between serving customers. We have a duty, I have a duty, to make you aware. I want to make you aware of what we know. So if you have to make a choice of where you go to eat, where your children may be allowed to go, or where you decide to get a takeaway from, you may want to think twice before giving those businesses your money. I think it's time we dropped in on the Mumbai Lounge, where Munchie, Bash and his artwork. And then we'll go and have a chat with Crowie, Munchie's brother-in-law, you know, Zafar Iqbal. We'll give them the opportunity to respond to the allegations being made against them. Before we go and approach these men, I want you to understand the in-depth 12 to 18 month investigation we've done. I've met with dozens and dozens of victims. We've got 12 and we've formed a database full of the perpetrators, the allegations, and each time they're named, we flag it. So when one name comes up, we're not approaching these men off the allegations of one girl. We'll check now how many different girls have named these men. We're looking at Munchie, Bash and Crowie. Munchie is on page 3. Let's have a look at Munchie. Page 2, page 3. No, that's... So Mushtaq Ahmed, Mushtaq Hussain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different girls. 5 different girls have named Munchie as being involved in their rape, prostitution and trafficking. 5 different children. Bash is on page 4. Basharat Hussain, 1, 2, 3, 4 different girls named Bash. Crowie, Zafar Iqbal, is on page 7. See how many girls have named Crowie. Crowie, page 7. Zafar Iqbal, 1, 2, 3, 4. But let me just show you as we work our way through here. The alleged perpetrators. We're on episode 2. There's many more episodes to come, just so you can see and understand the level of the investigation that we have carried out and the amount. We have over 200 men who have been named in this investigation. So the purpose on this is simple. It's just so that I can get in and ask him questions, you know. The problem is that there's probably about 8 members of staff. Munchie, who is the main alleged rapist, who has been holding children down whilst they are gang raped repeatedly by men. Some of these, one of these girls end up in hospital 3 times. They split her anal and vaginal together, yeah, with what they've done to her. Now, the problem is Munchie works in the kitchen, which means he will have knives. So there is a risky situation of going in. Some of his relatives, his nephews and his cousins, are working as waiters. They're young, they might be fiery. It's impossible. I've tried to contact him multiple ways. I've tried to put questions to him to get answers. I have to give him the right to reply because we're about to publish some of the sickest allegations ever against the man. The allegations are that this has happened repeatedly in his business. It's literally, we're just here to do our job, yeah? That's literally it. So the bar's busy. The bar's very busy, yeah? We don't really want to go through this way. This is the Indian restaurant this side of the pub. It looks like this is the restaurant side. So they're there, armed door ins over here. Hello, Munchie? Munchie?
Hey, no, Munchie. Come on, lad. Welcome, please. Come on, Munchie. Come on, lad. Nice.
Right, so you got the camera ready? You got the camera ready?
Yeah.
Right, so this is Munchie's restaurant. We've come to ask him questions. He's probably fled to Pakistan with the rest. Is Bash in here? Right, Bash. How you doing? I've got to put some allegations to you that you've been raping young girls in restaurants, but
Get the fuck out of
Bash,
here.
why would I have young girls who have named you as raping young children? We have young girls who have named you as raping.
Get the fuck out of here.
I have girls that put you as raping. Bash,
Listen,
you've been raping young children.
You're a fucking bullshit.
Your dad has as well.
My dad hasn't fucking doing nothing. You're not a bullshit bastard.
Bash,
You got nothing to fucking prove. Prove it.
We're in a restaurant.
Prove it. You're a liar. Fuck have you done? You fucking
you're a bad man drug dealer, are you? You're a bad man drug dealer.
dealer.
Holding school children down, one by one, raping them after each other whilst in their school uniforms, okay? Munchie, Bash. Bash, you're named, mate. You're starring in our documentary. The problem we have is unsuspecting customers do not know that these men have been raping children in these businesses. Unsuspecting customers are not aware that these men
Look at you.
Unsuspecting customers have no idea that these men have been prostituting and raping children in these businesses. We are here to make sure that the people in Telford, you are unaware of what's been going on.
Get out of the kitchen.
Oh what?
Sorry?
Oh what?
This is private area. Get out of the kitchen.
We've come in here because multiple young girls have named these men as holding them on the floor. His dad holds children on the floor one by one, raped by every member of staff. Every member of staff. Every member of staff. In front of your mum. Anyway, his dad. Your dad rapes little schoolgirls, bro. Your dad rapes little schoolgirls. Young men, young girls have been raped by these men. Mate, young girls have been raped by these men. I'm not lying, bro. Multiple young children. Yeah, what do you know, bro? They've been holding children down their school uniforms and raping them.
If you know
You're standing up for them. You've got rapists working in this pub, lads. There's rapists working in that kitchen. Come on, let's go.
So we know that this is the restaurant that our survivor alleges she was held down and gang raped by Munchie and all of his colleagues. Now we have here the diary. These are diary entries from in our third episode. We look at the murder of Becky Watson, who was killed aged 13. And in here, this is from her diary when she was a school child. Ishaq, Islam, Muhammad. It's listed with Muslim men's names. Yeah? But one of the names that's of interest to us is Munchie Work. So we have a phone number in this 13-year-old child that's been murdered diary under Munchie Work. We have the restaurant where our survivor alleges Munchie raped her. Let's try something, see if we've got the right place. Hello mate, yeah, I just wanted to check that with you. So this is the place where you step down the step. This is the place that she describes in the story where she was held. On that floor there, she was held and gang raped. We've heard the allegations of Zafar Iqbal. Now Zafar Iqbal, where do we have to go? We heard the allegations that whilst Munchie was raping her ear, Zafar Iqbal was involved, which is Crowe, Munchie's brother-in-law. Where do we have to go to find Crowe? Literally, this is his family business here. Now, you see this high street. Who would have thought on a sleepy little market town called Wem, that within two businesses where we have allegations that young children have been held down and gang raped by the men involved in these businesses. This is his restaurant here. This is his family restaurant. So we'll go and see what they've got to say. Hi lads, how are you? Okay. Yeah, not bad. Crowe, mate, Crowe.
Huh?
Crowe. Chef. Chef. Crowe. He's been raping children, mate. I want to speak to him about it.
Right, yeah. You want to go out? Right, leave.
Hello, mate. Is Crowe here?
Who?
Crowe. Crowe.
Who's that?
Now, Zafar Iqbal.
Don't leave, mate.
Crowe.
Not here.
The nickname Crowe. So, not here, no?
No. I think he's on delivery.
I'll show you, bruv. He's on delivery, yeah? I'll show you that.
That's alright.
So you know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we know who he is.
You know who he is.
Yeah, I also know who you are.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you know who he is, yeah?
Yeah.
And this is his place, his family's place, yeah?
Yeah.
This is his family's place.
Yeah.
I'll just come to ask him some questions, lads, because I'll tell you what it is. I've got girls that name him. I know this is his family's restaurant.
No, he is, but he's not here. He's in Pakistan.
He's in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Do you know why he's in Pakistan?
Huh?
Do you know why he's in?
Family death.
How long has he been there?
He went yesterday.
He went yesterday?
Yeah.
It's pretty good timing, though. Because just tell him when he's back, we have allegations that he's been raping children, and we need to question him about it. Yeah?
Yeah, I know you went yesterday.
Yeah. Do you know that? What do you think, mate? Can I ask you? If you remember a staff here.
If you're gonna ask me, I think you're racist.
You think I'm racist?
I think you're racist.
Okay, I am asking you.
Have you got proof? Can you show me proof?
I've got 4 different girls who don't know each other.
Okay.
Who have all given me his name. Have all told me, you know him, who all told me the stories. Yeah. They don't know each other, bro. Yeah. Okay. So I've sat them down, spent 18 months. They have all, do you know what they've done? Do you know what they've done? Yeah. They held the girl down, she's 15. Yeah. And 7 of them, they breached her anal to her vagina. She couldn't walk for a week. Yeah? So when you hear that story, I don't care what you think about me, if I'm honest, yeah? But what do you think of him if 4 different girls are saying that?
Well, I think the story itself is bad.
Oh, it's bad?
Yeah, if that was to happen.
Is it as bad as racism?
Yes.
It is, okay, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. How am I racist? What have I said that's racist?
Well, I want to see proof for what you're doing.
Okay, but no, let's forget. Okay, you will see proof.
I don't think you coming in here is like. If you've got that case, right? You've got those allegations. Take it to court.
I'm not a police officer, and the police don't take them to court because they have police that work from this gang, yeah? They have police on their payroll. Now, do you think it's right, if there are those allegations against this man, do you think it's right that there's some 14-year-old girls might be coming in here for food?
Yeah, but I don't believe your story.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe it.
Do you believe the girls?
I haven't spoken to them.
No, okay, but you're going to see story of 4 girls. Do you think these 4 girls just making up?
Well,
I'm telling you there's 4 girls. I'm telling you. So you're going to see it on a film.
You're telling me a story.
You know, you're going to see on a film 4 girls.
Gang lads.
Come on. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, look, there's a gang of lads. Come. Get film them.
Don't worry.
Come on.
You racist motherfucker.
We're not worrying.
You got me. You motherfucker. That's what you are. You son of a bitch.
Don't worry, lads.
Motherfucker. Islamophobe. Motherfucker.
You're raping kids. Right, let's go. Let's go.
Sorry.
All right, mate. Still come on, let's go. Go. I'm back in Telford. I've drove to Telford because when I went in to approach Munchie and to approach Bash, the owner of the Elephant and Castle, who was an Irishman, who was quite aggressive, quite defensive of the Muslims and the accusations against them. He was defending them. Now, I'm going to approach him and his wife because I don't want to ruin an innocent man's business, okay? So I'm going to give them an opportunity to see the evidence. I think it's important that I give them an opportunity to see the evidence and then they can make a comment once they've seen the evidence. Because I know, we went in there weeks ago, I know that Bash and their organisation are still working in that restaurant every day. I know there are underage girls working in that establishment as well. I know there are, yeah? So it's important that the owners are fully aware of the evidence we have. So we're just going to go and have a friendly chat with them. Post, please ring. Amazon Post, please ring for an answer. I'm asking if you want this. Yep. Yeah, I am. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I've just been over to Ireland looking for you.
You've just what?
I've just been over to Ireland looking for you.
Well, don't go over to Ireland looking for me. I'm downstairs, mate. I'm outside your pub. Come out. I'll talk to you.
Man, you could have fucking rang me and told me you're coming, couldn't you?
I'm here, mate. I'm here. Yeah. I'm here to see if you want to see the evidence. Do you want to see the evidence that I've got on the men that work in your kitchen?
What evidence? Come here, you're calling up a fucking shit on Facebook and fucking...
I'm not, mate. I'm here.
Fucking rubbish.
Mate, do you want to see the evidence? I'll show you the evidence now. I'll sit down with you and your wife and I'll show you the evidence. So that
okay, wait outside there.
Okay, thank you. Cheers, bye.
You get whatever you can off him.
Do you want to see the evidence?
I want to talk to you on your own.
That's fine, but do you want to see the evidence?
I said I'll talk to you on your own.
Mate, do you want to see the evidence?
I'll talk to you on your own.
Well, that's there for my security and my safety.
Well, come here. It's only me.
No, but mate, I mean, so no one can say I've said something. I don't want to go in there and you say I've said something.
No, I'm going to bring you into the corner
That's
there.
fine.
So that's it. There's a computer there, yeah, with the evidence.
Fine.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah,
come on. Mate, I don't believe you're an innocent man running a business.
My name's Stephen.
It is Stephen,
Stephen Lennon.
Yeah.
Don't fucking give you Tommy over some shit to me.
Yeah.
I fucking had to deal with fucking immigration shit like you probably had to. Don't be coming over here giving me all your fucking big I am.
What are you talking about?
Fucking British fucking shit.
What are you talking about? I'm here to talk about men who have raped children, bro. Yeah? That's what I'm here to talk about, nothing else. Not immigration, not me, not you.
I seen you running across from over there.
Yeah.
I seen you come in here and saying online there's rapists in this fucking building.
Yeah, there is. Let me show you.
No, but come here. You've tried to ruin my business.
I haven't tried to ruin your business.
You fucking have. You put this online. I've seen it already.
Mate, there's a film
I've
going
had people put this out to me.
There's a film.
Show me already. I've seen it. You don't use this place as a tool for fucking your propaganda.
Propaganda?
Do you not think this fucking white fella's fucking rape?
Oh, okay then, that's okay. So it's okay that...
No, I never said it's okay. As an Irish fella, I'm very upset with you. Do you know what I mean? As an Irish immigrant, how you treat people.
How I treat people?
How we have been treated over the years.
How I treat people?
Yeah.
You have a man in your kitchen that holds down children and rapes them, bruv. Don't talk to me about how I treat people. I'm trying... You've got young girls working in your premises. Yeah. Young girls. And you're more bothered about white people rape girls as well. Sort yourself out. You've got Muslim men in there who gang rape kids, bruv. Yeah? And you've got young girls in that premises. I'm here to give you an opportunity to save the young girls.
Is this your thing? Yeah.
No, so the attitude you've come out with, you have been made aware of allegations of rape against children, and you come out going on about immigration and Ireland. What fucking planet are you on? You're embarrassing.
No,
Do you need to get your wife down here so she could, as a woman, because you obviously ain't got no brain in your head, let the woman see the evidence.
I've got no brain.
There's evidence. I've
got no brain.
Yeah, you've got...
No.
Mate, you're comparing white racists when you've got rapists working in your kitchen. You've got young girls in there. Do you want to protect
it?
You've got no rapists in your kitchen. Right, so you've seen it. Elephant and Castle is complicit. You are complicit. I'm offering you the opportunity and your wife to see evidence.
I mean to knock you the fuck out.
Oh, do you want to see evidence? Do you want to see evidence? Do you want to see a video of a young girl who's been raped by them? Talking. Do you want to see a video of a young girl who's been raped?
I've seen it online. It's all online.
You haven't seen it?
I've seen it.
You have no idea, bruv.
I've seen it.
You haven't...
You're an embarrassment to you Irish people.
Episode 2, Elephant and Castle, complicit. Cheers, bruv. You had an opportunity, mate. You had an opportunity.
You're an embarrassment.
You're going to what? I'll tell you who my family are. You had the opportunity to sit and watch evidence, yeah? You had the opportunity. I was about to show... I've got a video. You haven't seen it because it's not out. I've got a video of a young girl who...
Out or not out?
It's not out, bruv.
It's not out?
It goes out on the 7th of May. The video of me entering your business, the video of young girls who are 5 young girls, 5 different girls.
In my business?
No, listen to me. 5 different girls that named the men who work in your kitchen. 5 different girls. Do you know what he done? He held her down and one by one, every member of staff, yeah, in his previous premises, raped her on the floor. Yeah? It's got nothing to do with my politics, it's got nothing to do with Ireland, right? It's got to do with a little girl who was held down and gang raped by Bash, by Munchie. They're all named, yeah? And what I offered you, what I've come here to...
you come up with their nicknames now. Where's their proper names a while ago?
I know everyone their proper names. It's going to be in the film. Well, I've given you an opportunity, and you should have got your wife down there.
That was Mexico.
You should have got your wife down there. Yeah?
Have a nice time in Mexico.
Clever, right? Just so we're aware, so this is the owner of this premises, yeah? We're lying, right? White men rape as well, right? He's got young girls. There are young girls, so this is why I have to do this film, right? Because there are young girls that are going to be in this premises. Those young girls are in this premises, right? And there are rapists working in his kitchen, and he doesn't care. And he doesn't care.
Tommy.
Yeah, go on, mate. I know I'm a good lad, bruv. I know I am, mate. Mate, get your hand off me, bruv. Right, officer. I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah. These boys are just threatening me.
How you doing? No, they haven't. It's all on camera, mate.
It's all on camera. You just said you fucking wiped out my business. You're going to kill me.
I said you've wiped out your own business.
Don't let me today.
How you doing? So, I've come here.
Sorry, just going to activate my body warm.
That's fine, you can.
Just let you know.
So, I've made a film.
Yeah.
And there's a film coming out in Telford.
Yeah.
And in the film, we have multiple allegations against men that work in this kitchen.
Okay.
Now, in the heat of the moment when we come into this premises to ask the questions, this gentleman and his family, I understand it's their pub, and I understand that the Indian restaurant is run separately.
Yeah, of course.
So I've came here now and just, which I've got all the recordings of, I've come in now and said, do you want me to show you the evidence I have?
Yes.
Yeah. So calmly,
okay.
Locked, do you want me to show you the evidence I have?
Okay.
So that you can make a decision as a business on where you stand.
Yeah,
right?
I get that.
So I bought a laptop.
Right.
I bought a film so that he could see, or his wife could see. I should have got his wife because he's still drunk.
Right.
So that he could see the allegations that are about to be made, because I don't want to say it's the Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, of course.
When it's not the Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not him, it's not his wife.
Yeah.
That's all I come for. That's it.
Okay.
And he's come out going on about immigration, going on about my politics. I said, mate, I'm just here to show you. Yeah?
Okay.
I'm just working, bro.
What's sort of where we're moving forward from here then? Are you,
I'm going now, mate. I've got my footage. That's it, bro.
All right.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Mate, what you should have done, I'll just say one more time, what you should have done, bruv, what you should have done, right, as I said, I've just knocked here to show you evidence, yeah? You should have got your wife to sit down and see the evidence, because what I wanted to do in my film is actually separate the Elephant and Castle from the Mumbai Lounge, yeah?
There's no Mumbai Lounge.
What I come to show you was evidence. So to see if your wife wanted to see girls sitting down telling her
I've seen it. It's
no,
all
you
online.
haven't seen it, man.
I've seen it. It's all online.
No, it's a
as I said to you, I've seen you walking in here.
There's an hour and 20-minute film going out on the 7th of May.
That's fantastic. I'm sure your boys would love to pay you.
Well, you're in it now.
Give you all the money.
You're in it now. See you later.
We don't have to worry about me ruining his business. He's just ruined his own business. I had hope that as the owner of an establishment that has young girls working there and serious allegations of rape that he's aware of, he'd wanted to see the evidence. I just went in to see the evidence. Do you know what I realised? He threatened to knock me out. And I realise now that his attitude and the way he acted and the way he was there is exactly the reason that this has gone unpunished for 30 years or 40 years. He would be one of the people shutting down the debate, shutting down the ability to discuss these gangs raping children. And he just tried to do that to me. So, I'm surprised. I'm disappointed as well, because I'm not saying he's got anything to do with raping children. I'm not saying he's anything to do with these rape gangs. What I am saying is that he's ignorantly defended them without witnessing the evidence we have, because he was more bothered about the fact that I'm accusing Asians of rape. That's what he's bothered about. That was it. White people rape as well. That's his argument to the fact that he's got men in his kitchen, that we have 3, 4, 5 girls alleging the gang raping them. Yeah, I don't feel any guilt now about his restaurant or naming it, because he's done it, not me. So, hello. What did you say? What did you say? Did you call me what? What did you say? So the only person I've rang, you've heard that, I'm a white motherfucker, death threats. The only person I've rang, yeah, no one's got my phone number. The only person I've rang is the phone number on the Elephant and Castle. So the owner of the Elephant and Castle, within 6 minutes, has given my number to Pakistani gangs, clearly, who are racially abusing me and threatening to kill me. Within 6 minutes. So he's more in, so not just, I've just realised, so I thought he messed up, yeah, but he's obviously heavily entwined, really linked with them. He must be, for those actions. Wow. Go on, I'm listening.
Yeah. Alexander, as a family away, yeah?
You think it's clever naming the mother of my kids? What's that got to do with anything?
Oh, you know you're your fucking kids, are you? You're the fucking lady. You'll take your fucking kids, yeah? I'll tell you that, I promise you that. I'm gonna drop your kids on a list then, alright? So that you fucking feel, you motherfucker. Okay? But if you're playing, I hope you're recording this and playing. Keep on playing it, keep guessing. Here's this content, alright? Because I'm gonna stab your kids.
I decided to reach out to a former police officer, a high-ranking former police officer, to ask him the questions, to try to understand what has gone on in Telford, why the police have failed to act, and why they continue to still fail to receive information that I have in my possession that could help them bring criminals to justice. Thanks for meeting with me.
You're welcome.
I believe you're a retired police officer?
Correct.
What was your position within the police when you retired?
When I retired, I was a Deputy Chief Constable.
Okay, so I've spent the last 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, building evidence and a database of witness statements, covert recordings, surveillance of men who are alleged to have raped and prostituted children, trafficked them. There's been a lot of fire bombings. I have evidence within my position that I've attempted to give to a senior officer at West Mercia Police. Have you had an opportunity to watch episode 1?
I've seen episode 1, yes.
Can I ask what your opinion is as a former police officer of the fact Rob Rondell, and I'll quote the police officer, categorically will not meet with Tommy Robinson to discuss this?
There's been a lot of stuff talking about envelopes being passed over in restaurants.
Rob Rondell doesn't want to meet with Tommy.
Categorically, Tommy's not going to meet Rob Rondell.
I was amazed when I saw that reaction on the film. It's inexplicable, really. If the police were really interested in doing something about all these issues, they would have ripped your hand off to get hands on evidence. And I don't understand why they are avoiding doing anything or taking any more action. It suggests that there's something not right in West Mercia Police.
Can they, as a police force and a police officer, can they pick and choose who within the public they get information off or who they deal with?
So that for some reason they're saying you're not fit to give them evidence, and I just do not understand that. It doesn't, what your background is, what your history is, doesn't matter. That what matters is the truth of the situation.
So at the end of episode 2, we've reached an important point. Our investigations have highlighted allegations of horrific historic sexual abuse of children, repeated rape and gang rape of young children, alleged crimes that have gone unpunished for decades by Pakistani groups of Muslim men in Telford. These are the facts. I don't care about cultural sensitivities or your feelings. We've seen how the failure to bring these people to face justice means that girls and young women in Telford continue to suffer, like Nicole from episode 1, who was abused by some of the same men a decade after the suffering of our courageous survivor you've just heard from in episode 2. We have gathered information about serious ongoing criminality, drug dealing, cases of modern day slavery and abuse of vulnerable people in Telford by criminal gangs who operate with impunity. They don't fear the authorities, they mock the authorities. We have information the authorities don't have. Information that will help bring the reign of these criminal gangs to an end. I want to be very clear. I would like to give this information to the appropriate authorities. The information is extremely sensitive, and to safeguard the well-being of others cannot just be handed to a corrupt Telford police force. I wrote to the National Crime Agency several weeks ago with this offer. I've had no reply. I've repeated this offer to the police I've met concerning the threats of kidnap and rape made against my own children. I'll repeat the offer now, and I'll appeal to Lucy Allen, Member of Parliament. She's very strong on these issues. Can someone please meet me to receive the information I have? They will need to be ready and equipped to safeguard the people who are passing the information to me. However distasteful you find me or what you think are my politics, I'd welcome the opportunity to chat to any Member of Parliament. Please don't let another day go by without acting. That makes you complicit in these crimes. And make no mistake, these are ongoing crimes where young girls and women are suffering.
Why are they approaching you and not going to the police?
Because they don't trust the police, man. That's what I mean, they don't trust them.
All I can suggest is that she goes and asks to speak specifically to the anti-corruption officers at West Mercia.
They haven't done in 20 years though, mate.
They are responsible for law enforcement in that area. Do you know what I mean?
They don't enforce it, man. I'm telling you, they do not. Not the way. Look, they don't. For whatever reasons, they are interlinked massively.
Go to West Mercia Police and see what they have to say. I mean, that's the best, honestly, that I can tell you to do.
We're going to forget the failures of West Mercia Police. We're going to forget the fact that Rob Rondell refused to meet me to receive evidence. We're going to attempt to start again. You'll be able to follow up in future episodes to see where this goes. I don't have much confidence. We're going to attempt to form a new relationship with West Mercia Police. Do you value the work we're doing? Do you value the content you've just seen? We can't do it without your support. I want you to become a member of our team, our production team. If you can support our work at Urban Scoop, you become a producer. You can sit and watch these films and know that you played your part. You helped us bring them down. You helped us highlight them. And better than that, you helped us save victims. Along the way, we help victims, we move them, we support them. We can't do it without your support. Everything costs money. The travel, the security, we need to be safe. We need to make sure our families are safe. If you can support our work, please log on, subscribe at Urban Scoop with a monthly donation so we know it's guaranteed each month so we can progress, get bigger and bigger and bring you better and better documentaries. Thank you. Meet Friday about 2 o'clock, if that's all right.
Yeah, that'll be okay. Yeah.
And Sarah, with you, I know your house was recently attacked. I have information, quite reliable information, that was Akil, Kasim, Jack. I don't know if you've heard any of those names as being involved, but
yeah, I have actually. I know you're on about it.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. So let's see what West Mercia Police will say about that one, eh?
Yeah, well, I'll go through it all with you. I'll see you on Friday then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's weird, because that's Sarah Rushton. Sarah Rushton's a survivor of grooming in Telford. But when I say, we've obviously got 12 girls we've worked these programmes on. 12 girls that have sat down, 12 girls that have been willing to sit on camera. But I've approached dozens and dozens of other women about historical abuse against them. Names I'm given names, I look into it and I go and try and find them. Now this lady, I'm heard, has helped lots of other victims. I've approached her. When I approached her, I got told in no uncertain terms, fuck off. Okay? Some have been welcoming, some have been cagey, some have been abusive. Sarah Rushton was one of them who was not interested at all in working with me. She's made it very clear she does her own work in helping victims of grooming, and didn't think my politics benefit the situation. She was quite clear about that. But something's changed. Something's changed. For her to now, I've left my phone number with all of them. She's now contacted me, wants to meet up. We'll see her Friday and find out what's going on. And find out what's changed the tunes. I'm aware that her house has been smashed to pieces recently. So it's probably that. We'll speak to her Friday.
Since I put out my promo for my first episode, there were 7 or 8 fire bombings, multiple houses attacked. It's one of those attacks that's brought us together.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Can you tell me what happened?
So basically, after you put your promo out, I was standing in my bedroom window looking down at my son. He was in the car, and a black Audi pulls into our driveway. KP12 NUH was the reg. It was a black Audi A4, and I'd just seen Asian driver with a beard. He took a look at the car, which my son was in, and then he looked up at the window, seen me, and that's it, he's backed off. Part of me was thinking, what the hell? And then other parts of me is thinking it could have been a delivery driver, he's got the wrong address, whatever. So my partner had taken the dog for a walk at the time, so I just rung him and said, like, you know, what had happened, this car had pulled up. And then I thought nothing of it, to be honest with you. Nothing, you know, it didn't come back, just left it. Later on that day, me and my son goes out, we go shopping, coming back from Wellington and driving up the road where we live. As I pass this car, I clock the car as he clocks me, and he put the brakes on straight away, so I knew that he was trying to stop, to turn around. So rather than turn into my junction, I span the car back round so that I'd be following him. And at that point, he just span his car around, he come flying back up the road. And as we were virtually front on, he just swerved the car, and I don't know how, my lad, 15 at the time, he just grabbed the wheel off me. And we flew past, and then he put his brakes on again, so I just put my foot down, got stuck. There was a black Golf, and I don't know whether it was trying to hold me back or whether it was just me being paranoid at this time, but I was going to turn left at this point. He stopped me from doing that, pulled off very, very slowly, and then he took the left, so I just belted it, went down through Hadley, down a one-way street, trying to just get back to the house. Gets back to the house. Obviously, we had to ring the police at this point. They've come out, said that it's not much of a risk, so we couldn't have any security or anything put in at this point. So at that point they just put a firebox so that nobody could send anything.
So a car has essentially come to your house and it's tried to ram you off the road?
Yeah.
And you just read out the registration plate?
I'll never forget that.
You'll never forget the registration plate?
No.
You gave the police the registration plate?
Straight away, yeah.
And what have they done?
They said that they put it onto the AMPR and they'd done door-to-door inquiries down the road that it happened, looking for CCTV. But would you believe that they've got the car pulling up outside my house, they've got the car driving down the road when he rammed me, and they've got him driving back up the road, but the only part that they're missing is the point where he actually tried to ram me off the road. What they're saying is it's got multiple people on the insurance, so they can't prove.
Have they made an arrest? Have they been and spoke
No.
to anyone? No.
No.
They haven't even spoke to anyone.
Because
Are
they
you
can't prove the driver.
Okay, and I've got that registration plate, so I'm going to have a look at who owns that car, yeah? Myself. That was one day. What happened then after that? So we've had it investigated, and that car was owned at the time by Nasser Hussain. Nasser is also known as Harry. Now let's have a look at the family tree from our episode 2, where we looked at Munchie as the main target for the main alleged rapist. Who's Harry? Harry is Munchie's brother. You can see how intertwined and connected all of these incidents and families are.
It was about 2 weeks later. It was 12:20 of a night time. I'd literally just fallen asleep, and then there was all this commotion. I could just hear banging and smashing, and I didn't know where it was coming from. I opened my bedroom door. My son's coming towards me saying, "Mom, what the hell, what the hell?" And I could hear a beeping, but the indicators of the car were flashing through the curtains, and straight away I thought it was fire. I opened the curtains and realised it was the car, and I could just see debris everywhere, like just parts of my car all over the place. At that point I couldn't go out. My partner was on the phone to the police. Luckily, because of them ramming us, trying to attempt to run us off the road, they put the gas warning on the property. So when we rang through on that night where they smashed the house up, it literally took 4.5 minutes to attend the property. And the whole street was swarmed with police. The sergeant come down and he had them knock on everybody's door in the area, basically trying to get the CCTV.
Now, have they got, so I believe, how many men turned up at the house?
3, there was 3.
Were they armed? Were they?
Yeah, they had an axe, an hammer, baseball bat. You can tell.
What did they smash up?
They wrote my car off.
Wrote your car off?
It's gone to the salvages now, it's gone. My front door, the glass in my front door, my window, glass gone out of that completely. Luckily, my neighbour heard it and she screamed at him. And as soon as they heard her scream, that's it, they ran.
Have any men been arrested for that?
No.
Why would Asian men, Pakistani men within Telford, why would they be targeting your house or yourself since I put my film out? Why do you think?
I guess it's guesswork for them. They're trying, any survivor, which I am a survivor.
So you're a survivor of?
Sexual abuse when I was 13.
You're 14 years old, you're pregnant, you're living with a 42-year-old Pakistani male. What was the situation with your mum and dad at this point? Like, were you missing
My mum and
from
dad
home?
split up, yeah, I ran away.
So you were missing, so you'd run away from home at 14. 42 years old, you're 13, 14 now, and pregnant. Was there any involvement from social services? Where were social services for a child in this situation? Where were they?
They never come out to the house, never did a visit. I remember having a meeting down in a house in Wellington somewhere, and he was sat by me. Every time I had a meeting, he would be there, so I couldn't open my mouth.
You have a meeting with social services, and the perpetrator, who's 42 and Pakistani, was present in the meeting?
Yeah.
At every meeting?
Yeah. And I'm sure he was registered as my foster dad.
Just you two?
Yeah.
You're pregnant at the same time. Were social services aware you're pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the school.
And the school were aware?
Yeah.
No questions?
No, he used to drop me off at school in the taxi.
He used to drop you to school and bring you home from school? And you've run away from home and you're living with him, and there's not and so the man who was raping you was taking you to meetings with social services, and they were sitting and holding the meetings in front of him and with him about your protection?
Yeah. I wasn't put on no child protection order or anything like that. They never looked after me. They just left me there. And maybe I was a bit troubled, but come on. I was only 13. I was only little. Nothing to me, really.
Did he give you a drink or drugs?
Yeah.
How often?
Weed every day.
Yeah.
Drink as and when I wanted it. To be honest with you, the drink was more Terry.
Terry is on.
It was hooch. Remember that hooch?
I remember apple hooch.
That's what he used to.
Did you have your baby?
Yeah.
So you had your baby at 14?
Yeah.
This man, the main perpetrator, we were looking at him last year. We were getting close to him. As part of our other investigations into grooming within the town of Telford, unfortunately during the filming of these documentaries, he passed away without ever facing justice.
Bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Well, I had the police come out of the blue to my house and say that another victim had come forward and that they'd been told to come and see me by this victim so that I could back up what she was saying.
Had you ever been to the police previously about him?
I went to victim support when I was 16 because it was meant to be a confidential service, and didn't understand then that certain things that they have to take forward, they can't just leave it. So I didn't understand that then, and I just laid it all out on the table. And she said, just give me 2 minutes and I'll be back with you. And she come back in about 10 minutes later with 2 CID officers. So she'd rung the police.
And how come no action was taken against him?
Because I was too scared to go to court. Yeah.
When you've gone missing, you're living with an older Pakistani man. Was your mum going to the police? Did she go to the police?
Yeah, my mum and my dad. But they said to my mum that it's better to know where I was, and they didn't want to rock the boat and have me run again.
That's what the police said to your mum?
Yeah, and that I was settled. And my dad, it sent me dad a bit, he was constantly on the phone, and he spoke to a sergeant and he said to him, your daughter's not the first victim and she won't be the last. I can tell you now he's fathered several children with children. I'm still there.
But they didn't do anything?
Nope, because nobody had come forward.
You were still living with him?
Well, there's proof there.
He's, so we were getting close to him, we were looking at him, and then...
He's dead.
He's dead now.
He's dead. He died. Told me I was a filthy... gory, something like that.
Do you know what that means? You're aware now of what that means?
What, is it a whore?
White trash, white slag.
Yeah, well...
So it seems that your perpetrator took you as his property, as his singly.
They said that I was damaged goods when I got pregnant. So they couldn't use me anymore.
Once you were pregnant?
Which they couldn't, could they? If I was pregnant, they couldn't sell me up and down the country, could they? With a bum.
Well, I know recently you've took part in it. There's an independent inquiry in Telford that's happening now.
Waste of time.
What makes you say that?
One, it's funded by Telford and Wrekin Council, and I can't trust them. How can I trust anyone? You know, 1996, 97 was my case when it was live, and you've got head of children's services is Graham Bold. That, you know, that really puts...
Do you feel safe to name people?
No.
Have you ever felt safe?
No.
When was the last time you felt safe?
When I was sat on my nan's lap when I was a kid and she was rocking me. I just come hard faced now. But I've got the attitude that nothing bothers me, but it does. I'm a complete mess. And I've not had counselling. I just got on with it. My way of getting my justice was to move forward, and I just threw myself into education, did whatever courses I could, raised my son the best I could. And I've messed up along the way, loads. I haven't meant to. I just feel a bit lost and angry because I never knew this was going on. I thought I was the only person back then. And it sickens me.
I know that this is difficult and then for you to sit and talk through. Do you mind if I ask why you're sad?
Why shouldn't I have a voice? Why has my voice always been lost? Why can't I sit here and stand up for myself without feeling scared of the repercussions all the time? I haven't done nothing wrong. I've never done anything wrong. I've tried my best. All through my life I've tried my best. Sorry. And then you got them walking around the streets still.
So when this was happening to you as a child, you was totally unaware of the scale of what was going on in Telford?
I didn't have a clue. Not a clue. I promise you, I never
No,
knew.
I sense from you, and you've got nothing. I can see that you are talking like you feel the guilt when you shouldn't, and you don't. There's no.
I know, but I don't understand what I chose to do, go and live with him and everything, but I felt at that time I got nothing, I got nowhere, I didn't care about myself. I chopped all my hair off, burnt all my school stuff, my books. I just took a bitch fit, I guess. I didn't want to be me anymore. I don't want to be me now.
Do you realise now that this was all that? Do you realise now that that's all the reaction of a cycle of abuse of a child? Do you view it that way now? Like, I know when you're. Could you see a 13-year-old child now? Could you imagine a 13-year-old child now being put through what? Do you see the crime?
I'm doing this because I've got a niece growing up, I've got a granddaughter growing up, and it needs to stop because I won't be able to handle it if anything happens to them.
Do you mind if I ask you about your experience at that age of the police?
I didn't see him.
You never saw them?
No. The only time I seen them was when they come to arrest me because I jumped a taxi from Shrewsbury. Because I was scared. So I jumped a taxi. 2 weeks later they come to arrest me and took me back, and they took me back to Shrewsbury because that's where I jumped the taxi from. 2 coppers as well. I was on my own. I was only 13. I'm on my own. They took me all the way back to Shrewsbury to the cop shop. And as we're pulling in, this other cop car comes, they wind the window down, they have a conversation, and he turns around and says, "Yeah, I'll be with you when I've dropped this dog off into custody." Me?
How old was you?
13.
13. You're still living in Telford?
Yeah.
Are you aware of any abuse that's still currently happening? Is this problem
current or is it historic?
Current.
It's current.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand that you speak now with lots of other children and women who are survivors or victims at the time.
Uh-huh.
You've spent years now.
Yeah. And I chose to do that because I'm one of them too, and I know their pain and their fear. And I know that I feel that if there was something like what we have out there back then I wouldn't have felt so alone in the world. You know, I felt there was no support, there was no one to turn to. And that's sad, because everybody needs somewhere to go. Do you know what my dream would be? And if I won the lottery, or if I come into any substantial amount of money, and I promise you this on my life, the first thing that I would look into was buying a retreat so that these victims have got somewhere to go, even, you know, if it's for a night, or where they can get an education, proper counselling. That is the first thing I would do, because there's nothing. And that we need that. There's nothing. And why?
The council, the police, everyone's now aware that you were a victim.
You know, when I disclosed at 16, they put a file in Mallinsgate Police Station with Chowdhury on it. When Chalice come about, not one word off him.
They didn't come and see you?
Not one word.
So when Operation Chalice came out, which was to look at the historic and go through the files, you have a file that shows you were impregnated at 14, you were living with a 42-year-old Pakistani man, and they didn't come and see you?
No.
You've never heard a word from Operation Chalice?
No. Not a word.
So how many other girls like you do you think there are in Telford? Because I've seen your top police officer attempt to dispute the figures of victims. But do you think we're aware of all the victims? Do you think the police are aware of all the victims?
No. This is massive. This is huge. And there's so many that are too scared to come forward or ask for support because they don't feel like there's anybody there.
Have you had any counselling?
No.
Where are you with trust?
I ain't got none.
Who do you trust?
No one.
Ahmed Nawaz?
He's Becky Watson's killer. And Becky's in the ground, 13-year-old child.
Sarah. Yeah, I'd just like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for taking the time. And
no worries.
Yeah, man.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You've got nothing to be sorry for, man. It's horrible seeing you relive it. But yeah. Thank you. You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
You've done great, man.
Yeah, okay.
That must be fucking horrible.
Yeah.
To talk through in front of 3 total strangers.
I wanted to meet you today because I'm a little bit concerned at the fact that I watched a video of yours and you said that you've got all of these people coming forward to you and you're not the right person to be dealing with them. And knowing what it's like to be in that place where you think that there's no one and no support or whatever is a really dark place to be. And I am in the process now. I've worked with victims and survivors now for a good few years. I've done my own research.
The fact that, as I've said, I'm not the right person for this. Yeah, I'm not a counsellor. I am not the right person, but I have had some people contacting me. And if you're a survivor, so you'll understand fully.
Which is why now I've set up my own organisation now, and that's called SAVE. It's going to be a survivor-led organisation because there's a lot of survivors out there, and our purpose will be to rebuild that victim's life, not take them back to the trauma, look forward instead of back. And I know that that's going to take a lot of hard work because I've already been doing that.
I'm hoping that this is what you're saying. So when girls come forward to me, there's a way I can direct them.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe if there was something back in 1997 when my case was live, maybe then I would have had the strength to go forward. Maybe there wouldn't have been other victims. I'll always carry a lot of guilt.
I saw that.
Because I know there's other victims of the same perpetrator, and like I say, I'll always carry that guilt. But this is about now looking forward.
You said it was your dream, yeah? So is this the first step?
This is the start.
And for you, so I've contacted a post-traumatic stress disorder, an organisation who deal with military personnel. They deal with women as well. They do a in-depth therapy, intense therapy. I've spoke to them about the possibility of 3 or 4 girls going for a retreat. Would it be something you'd be interested in?
Absolutely.
But they would coach you, so then you can coach other girls that come in and help them.
Yeah,
so say girls should be interested in.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll make it. I've spoken with them. They want to meet you. I've told them, explain the whole situation. We'll put you both in contact.
Well, thank you.
Positive. If there's girls watching these films, they don't know who to turn to. They don't want to ring the police. I'm finding they don't trust the police, don't trust the council. All of these groups have failed them, but they need someone to speak to. How are they going to speak to you?
At the minute, I'm going to do like a Facebook group just to get the name out there, basically. I'm going to have cards made up and some flyers, so at your next protest, maybe I can hand some out if you want.
We do have, every time we put something out, more people come forward.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm snowed under. I don't have the team to do it.
Yeah.
I do not have the team to do it. Okay, well, Sarah, you're going to face a backlash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, as is each one of the survivors in this. You are a survivor. I wish you every luck. And we've ended our meeting better than the first time we started.
I'm sorry about that, Tommy.
Don't be. I get it.
I am sorry, but
I get it.
This means a lot to me.
No, I get it. And as I said, you're totally right as well. It should be non-political. It should be non-this. It should just. And I'm the wrong person to be involved in that.
This is like people's lives.
Yeah.
You know.
I know.
Forever.
Come back to me when you've got your website. Come back to me when you've got any information, and I'll make sure that the people watching our videos are aware of who they can contact and how they can contact you.
Yeah, nice one. Cool. Thank you.
Cheers.
Right, so I'm here. It's quite a big day for me today. I'm here because I support the survivors, and with Tommy doing a documentary, I need there to be a place where them survivors can go for support. So today I'm meeting with 2 people from a mental health charity, and they specialise in non-trauma therapy, which I think is the best way forward for these survivors. The last thing you want is to take them back to that trauma. This is about rebuilding their lives and not taking them backwards. So I'm hoping that this today goes really well, and that we get the outcome that we want, which is for possible training, and so that maybe I will have the therapy, try it out, and then maybe then I will be able to then pass that therapy on to the people that I work with. SAVE is a survivors-led organisation, so I'd like all of the ladies who are involved to do this therapy as well, and for them to be able to deliver it as well as use it themselves.
So hi Sarah, I'm Vicky. My partner Mick.
Yeah, I'm Mick.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, yeah. So Sarah, do you have any questions?
I have, yeah. I've just wrote a few down.
Well, I think that's probably the best way to start, really.
What I really need to know is what it involves, what the therapy involves. I'm quite interested in the non-trauma therapy because I think for the survivors that's the best way forward for them because I'd never want to take them back to that trauma. I'm all about rebuilding their lives, moving forward. Even though you'll never get over what's happened to you in the past, you can make a better future, I truly believe.
I'm ex-military. I served in the military for 30 years.
Thank you very much.
So I ended up in lots of rooms where I was training the military, and they were presenting things like nightmares, flashbacks, which really it was then sort of given the label post-traumatic stress disorder. So first and foremost, it's non-trauma focused, and equally what we look at doing also is if anyone's medicated, we look at helping them coming off medication because ultimately your body, if it's treated properly and if it's put in the right emotional space, can create everything that it needs to create. So that's like a long-term thing, and we always do that with medical guidance, but essentially we want you to be chemical-free, we want you to be alcohol-free, drug-free, distraction-free, so that you can get on and live your life. We literally help people change all of the emotional stuff that they've experienced that's holding them back, and that's what we do. And of course, this is, we all of the quality work is always done as a one-to-one. We do run group work where we get groups together. All of the quality change is a one-to-one session.
Yeah, because a lot of people struggle with group.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
You know, a lot. I'm, excuse me, I'm one of them people that I like it to be on my own until I've built trust, or I know where I am.
We just literally run a 7-day. We've just done a 3-day program for 7 people. There's no requirement to talk as part of that group, not until you've changed. Because when you've then changed, what happens is every conversation you have after you've changed becomes cathartic, and equally sharing experience with others at that point, if you want to, is a very, very powerful thing. So ideally, we would want to train people that have been through that journey in some of the stuff we do, because some of it's very simple. And I've never believed, even from the offset, which I started in 2006, and I've probably sat with way over 4,500 veterans, just veterans on their own, in one-to-ones. We've never believed in coping strategies because they just really, it's like putting a plaster on something.
Masking the problem.
Yeah, and of course, there's really nothing can touch it at the level of emotional transition.
So how long does it take out? How do you do your work with these? How do you do it?
So generally speaking, what we would do is we'd look at creating a change program for a small group of people. But that group would stay together for 3 to 4 days, and what we would do is they would all receive individual one-to-one sessions that are designed to change them. There's also a level of education that goes with it, so they can understand what makes them tick. They can work out the triggers. They can also have moments where they recognise what they've changed, because that change needs to be integrated into their experience.
We kind of describe ourselves as a tour guide. We take you on a journey, and we guide you through a series of questions where you go in and you find your own answers at the level of your unconscious. And this may seem quite a difficult thing for you to get your head around at the moment, and we would totally understand that. But you have all of your answers in here, whether you believe it or not, and we take you on that journey so that you can change your relationship at the level of anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, anxiety, that we help you change your belief system.
So after they've done that 3-4 days or whatever, what happens then? Is that it? Is that...
No,
not at all. People can...
We create communities anyway. But equally, what we would look at doing with any particular organisation would be to create a group of its own coaches. So it's got its own focal point, it's got its own expertise, and it can then help itself, which is what we've done with other organisations.
What do you ideally want out of it, Sarah? What do you see is required based on your...
I'd like to be able to deliver it as well. I'd like to be able, like I say, it's going to be survivors led, so all of the girls are going to need the therapy, and possibly the majority of them are quite capable of being able to deliver it as well. My aim, my long-term goal, would be to have a retreat somewhere, to rebuild somebody's life, sometimes you've got to take them out, like you've just said, take them out of that situation, put them somewhere else, let them reflect. Even if it's for a night, if it's long term, whatever they need. Because like I say, there's nowhere, and I truly believe that if there was somewhere, the world would be a much brighter place for these survivors.
We're quite excited about the potential to help.
Yeah, and that's how I feel, and you've just got to get a little help along the way, haven't you?
And we're not into long-term. We're not into long-term relationships either, Sarah.
You really, this is not protracted. No. It's not years and years of therapy on any level.
No.
You know, some slowly, some quickly, but essentially, once you start to change emotionally, the transition is pretty quick.
And it might mean that some of the survivors, as you call them, may need to come on a couple of change programs. You know, and you know we will be there to assist until people are in a resourceful space. And you know, but sometimes that requires, you know, doing a change program, going away and reintegrating the new you, because the new you will be born. And we're very much about, you know, and Mick has the skill set to do that, to empower you and anyone else that want to go on and do this independently. You know, there's no need for us if you have the right training.
We can produce all the coaches and the trainers, so there's no problem.
I'd like that. I'd like I say, I'd like to be a coach.
There's nothing more powerful than a survivor talking to another survivor. You know, we find it with veterans. We trained a number of organisations with their own veteran teams, and of course, the biggest cry with the veterans was nobody understands us.
Exactly.
Well, actually, nobody understands a woman that's experienced some of the stuff that she's experienced. It's unreasonable to even expect them to do that. There's nothing quite like veterans helping veterans or survivors helping survivors.
They've got the understanding.
Yeah, they have,
Again, going back to my retreat idea, I'd like to be able to cater for the children as well. So bring your children as well, because
we have a system.
It opens the doors.
We have a system for children that is second to none. I can't think of anything more powerful.
Let's do it.
And the proof of the pudding's in the eating, right? So we're all about results.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Okay.
All right then.
Yeah.
Are we done? Oh yeah. Oh, I think it went fabulous. Couldn't have gone any better. Really, really positive. I'm really, really excited. Like, that's a major step for us in the right direction. They totally get it. Their dreams and goals are the same as mine, which is amazing. What's going to happen is I'm going to have the therapy, and then they're going to train me to be able to deliver the therapy in our own group. So hopefully there'll be groups all over the place, all over the country, not just in one location, because it's, you know, it needs to be a national thing. But that way, I think it went really, really well. We need some nice people, really, to make some nice donations. Anybody got a 6-bed house we could lend for a week? That'll do. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but this will work. This is the way forward, and today that's the major step in the right direction to where we want to be.
Just catching up on how the meeting went with Sarah and the mental health organisation, and it looks very positive. One point, when I was watching Sarah at the end, she says,
"We need some nice people, really, to make some nice donations. Anybody got a 6-bed house we could lend for a week? That'll do."
It's a location for a retreat for the girls, and I know the perfect location. I actually hired the venue years ago for filming, and it's perfect for this. So I'm going to contact the owner and see if there's a chance that maybe the girls can use it. And I just know for what it is, for where it is, for the location, for everything, it's perfect for them. So let's see if we can put that into action.
Yeah, we're just approaching. How do you feel about this place?
Excited. Look at it, it's lovely. I'm just hoping that this is the start of my dream that I've always wanted. Because it's needed more than anything right about now. beautiful. Look at this. Do you believe this? I feel like I'm going to wake up in a minute. Oh, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I can't believe it.
How you diddling?
Oh, so
you okay?
Don't ask, you don't get, and look up more.
Yeah, sure.
There's a fire pit here.
Yeah, the fire pit and the Barbie.
Oh. Yay!
Here. Got a nice living space here.
Whoa, baby, go.
She's still in the living room, Michael.
Yeah.
And there she is.
Amazing! So how many does that sleep? 1, 2?
It sleeps, it's
6, isn't it?
6, and then, yeah, obviously, yeah, that room there as well.
And what a lovely setting,
yeah?
It's a lovely setting.
When it comes to training, will we do it in there and then?
Yeah, we'd use some of these bigger rooms. We'll work out a plan for
Because we'll
that.
need a sort of space where we do the communal stuff.
Yeah.
And then, because there'll be 2 of us here, we'll need 2 spaces. So we may end up having to use the bedrooms or something, or if it's nice, we can use outside.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for meeting me again.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, what a screen! Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
And we'll sort out dates and things. Lovely to see you again. I can't wait to talk to you about that.
You'll love it.
Get some marshmallows on that fire. And I'm telling you now, no, I'm not doing the boat.
I bet you by the end of the week we get you doing the boat.
I bet you do. Can you just see how much I've changed since being here? Just being out. It's raining and I'm sat here like it's middle of summer in Barbados. With me 2 swans and me, one of them baby ones called cygnets. Look at them. This is what we need, guys. It's almost like surreal. It's like I said, I had to pinch myself. Is this happening? Like, am I here or am I dreaming this? But now it's perfect. Look at the land. Just to go for a walk. I've just been for a little drive around the land, and even that, it's just perfect. If you just want to be on your own, there's a lot of space here to be on your own and reflect, and that's what a lot of us need, I think.
Download Getter now from the App Store to follow my every move. They have tried to hide these crimes for decades. Now they try to silence us on all their social medias. We need you to share this promo everywhere. Put it in your WhatsApp groups, send it to your families, send it on your email lists, and make sure everyone joins Getter.